All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. We're going to get started. So if you're out in the lobby area, we'd like to have you come in so we can get started with this great day, this inspirational day, and this informational day. Amen. Amen. And we thank God for all of you that are here. All right. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. Welcome to the SOAR conference. It's the Strategic Opportunities Acquiring Results Conference. How many of you know we need results?
All right. Yes, sir.
And so we want to have not only inspiration in what we do, we want to have information.
Yeah.
And sometimes as we begin this session, which we hope will be one of many to spur the entrepreneurism, the leadership in business, the marketplace, outreach that we need to do. We're going to have more of these types of meetings so that we can be better, do better, and achieve more. And so we're so excited today because we have a great company here represented, Vision Excellence Company that is here with some great people. Dr. Watkins. So we thank God for him. He's going to introduce the rest of his team when he comes. But I'm excited for what we're going to receive this morning. Now, our goal was to reach those people that are in business, leadership, entrepreneurs, and try to impart to them wisdom and some encouragement so that they can advance. We don't want to be mediocre. We don't want to be doing just enough. We want to become excellent in what we do. Excellence is always costly, but it pays for itself. Yeah. So when we learn how to do this in our own personal business, when we touch the marketplace, we will achieve more. So the whole vision and goal of what we were trying to do in setting this up was to get all of the marketplace people, whether you're in the church or you are affiliated with some people in the church, to come and to receive. Now this young man is not only part of this business, but he also has another business. It's a multi-million-dollar business called Ability Plus. And this one is to aid lives and dreams, and it's a multi-million-dollar business. So God has done it in a very short time, but he's done it with great zeal, great push, and all of that. So we invited him here to our area, and we try to extend it to all of our churches and friends and business community so that they can receive. So how many of you ready to soar? How many of you ready to take off and fly? This is what we want to do. And I want to say this before he comes. I was at Disney World, and they have a ride at Disney World. It's called SOAR. And the inspiration of it came from that because you sit in the chair, but you actually really not going anywhere, but you feel like you're going. It takes you up and you go through all the landscape, you're flying, it's like you're in the air. And I think sometimes we need a little wind under our wings, whether it's in business, whether it's in the church, whether it's in our homes, marriages. And so this is what we want to do. We want to impart to you, inspire you. When you leave here, you want to achieve more, you want to do more, and you want to become better. So I want you to put your hands together and just receive Doc Rock.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, today is Successful Saturday. Successful Saturday. Tomorrow will be Super Sunday. And Monday will be Marvelous Monday. Will be Terrific Tuesday. Wonderful Wednesday. Triumphant Thursday. Fantastic Friday. No bad days. Every day is a good day. Those who are streaming, streaming. Got some people in London watching as well right now. This conference. So we're Vision Excellence Company, and I know many of you. Let's give a hand out for Apostle Wesley. Here this morning. I told him tomorrow will be Apostle Watkins, but today we're gonna be Dr. Karan, and leadership. So there'll be 3 different sessions today. One will be on networking and relationships, and Mike Brazen, I'll talk about in just a second, will be leading that one. The next one will be emotional intelligence, and trust me, you want to understand that very well. Because for every point that your emotional intelligence goes up, is $1,300 in your pocket per year. That's how important that is. And then the last one, Dr. Archer and I will be tag teaming on is the power of confidence. And these some teachings that we teach churches, that we teach companies as Toyota, PKG, just vendors, just various companies around the country that we have connections with for Frank Williams dealership. And then also at Ability Plus, we'll be the CEO of. So it's not just some thing we got out of the sky or some book. It's things we actually teach and what we use in our business on an everyday basis. We took a company 3 years ago that was losing about $115,000 a month, and in a year and a half, God allowed us with leadership to turn around about $1.3 million in the last 3 years. We turned around about $7 million. We turned it around. So the reason I'm saying that is not to brag, it's just say that what's being said is we use and you use it to benefit you personally and benefit you as an organization, whatever organization that you're a part of in a powerful way. Mike Brazier, who's a vice president of Vision Excellence Company. Of course, we got Dr. Audrey Watkins, my lovely wife, who's the executive vice president of Tech. We'll talk about her a little later. But Mike is VP of Vision Excellence Company. Mike is also Chief Administrative Officer of Ability Plus. Actually, Dr. Audrey, who's VP of Administration, Mike is her boss or her leader, as we call her. And then Mike reports to me, and it works out good. He's also joined the ministry and bear me and all that. So it's amazing what God has done with that. But a little bit about Mike, the VP of, like I said, of VEC. He's Chief Administrative Officer of Ability Plus. But Mike also worked for the Huntsville Chamber of Commerce as an executive. He was recruited to Kansas City, and he may talk about this a little bit, to become one of the vice presidents of the Greater Kansas City Chamber. And so he knows it very, very well. Shows out his house that he had on Ward Parkway, very nice. And also worked as a consultant with chambers all across the Midwest. Mike also has a background in business. His family owned a multi-million-dollar business. They did heavy truck selling and equipment and things of this nature. And Mike has been very profitable for us on the team. I try to tell people I don't hang with chickens. I hang with eagles. I'm staying in the house with some eagles. They are, I eat chicken, but I hang with eagles. So Mike is very qualified to do what he's getting ready to do. And he and I are headed to London next in November and do some leadership training as well in Nigeria. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Mr. Mike Brazier.
Good morning. Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, good. So, I'm gonna get a couple things out of the way. First of all, born and raised in Alabama. So you'll probably hear some of that Southernese coming out, and I'll probably say y'all a few times. I'm gonna try not to say mama and them. Hey, I did grow up in a family business, so I might refer to that. But just know, if I say y'all, it might be just here. If I need to talk to the whole group, I'll say all y'all. All right. Also, you've got in your handouts, in your folder, this handout right here. Now, I'm going to hold this. I'm going to refer to this because as I started developing this teaching, it was about 14 pages. So Dr. Watkins said that's not going to work. You got to trim it down. So I got 4 pages. So I'm trying to stay on track here, okay, just so you understand. And just so we know the flow, I want to talk a few points of just about the power of relationships, connections. I'm not sure a lot of people hear about networking, but connection is the key piece. That's the glue that really makes those two work, with relationship and networking. So I've got some books on here that I want you to take with you and reference. I'll talk to some points on those books. And I've got some strategy of how you do some different things. And I want to do some role play. Okay, so we'll get up. I want to make sure that we got time to do that. Situations. Now, this is not just things that you use in business. These are things that you use in life. Because relationships, there's power in relationship. Relationship is not just business. We're talking about it's in your personal life. It's in the church. It's in everything you do and everything that you're connected with. Okay, there's power in that. So let's get started. Anybody got any questions? Too early? Everybody awake?
Yeah.
We good? Okay. I'm gonna make sure I got all the names: Ernestine, Michelle, Brian, Maurice, Chris, Letitia. Okay, Christian, Gloria, Charmaine, Rashawn, Lisa, Bishop Shockley, Travis, and okay, Adam. You okay? Travis and Adam. Okay, and I know these. Okay, so let's get started. So as I've talked about relationships, okay, the key piece we hear, oh, you got a network. If you're in business, you got a network. In life, you need to network. You need to have a network. Okay, but when you just go out and you're trying to meet people and everything, nothing really makes sense until you form a connection with somebody. Okay, now you think about this. You've got close friends that you've grown up with. Everybody in here, if I say you have somebody that you could call right now if you needed something. Everybody in here's got somebody they know. Okay, that is a connection. Okay, that you have that has grown into a relationship. So when you go out and you're trying to network, that's your goal, is to make connections with people. Okay, you don't do that by just handing out a business card. Okay, you have to find some common ground. Now there's some key points on here. So building relationships, learning to be a connector, understanding network and foundational principles. And that's what we're going to talk about throughout the rest of the day, is in order for you to connect with somebody and build a relationship, you have to have some value. First of all, you have to value yourself. You have to know who you are. You know what you have to offer. And then you've got to let people understand how they can benefit from you, okay? And let's just be real. Everybody wants to know what's in it for me, okay? But we also know the more you give, there's power in giving. The more you give, and it's not just giving of your money, it's giving of your time, it's giving of yourself, it's listening to the people, it's giving, being compassionate about somebody's issues or somebody else's situation. And that's how you start being able to connect with people and building relationships. Now, a key term that's used commonly is called building social capital. Okay, so that's a current buzzword that people talk about. So we don't want to just go break it down and just be strictly old school. We want to be current. So remember that term. You start throwing that around. Well, I'm working on building my social capital. I was like, oh man, guys got it going on. What are you talking about? Tell me, what does that mean?
Right.
Well, what that is, that's building a relationship. But as you see, and as we talk about these, and specifically as we go through some of this stuff, and we talk about some books, I want you to understand that there's nothing new here. These are basic principles about how can I help you? Because if I help you solve a problem or get an answer to a situation that you're working on, you're going to remember me. Okay? Having a connection and having a relationship is power. There's power in the relationships, and that means that there's you now all of a sudden, when you have a powerful relationship, you have influence. So we were talking with Apostle Leslie's son, Jabbar, the other night about his position and where he's at in the government relations field. That's all relationships, but it's all influence. Okay, so and we'll talk about that a little more. I've got a quote here that, and I use these a lot. Zig Ziglar. Anybody ever heard of Zig Ziglar?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I can feel like it's safe for me to say, all these principles that we talk about and I say it in this setting for certain, every principle of any worth, of any merit is biblical based.
Right.
Okay, and that's in leadership development, that's
Absolutely.
in connections, that's relationships. Every single one. And all the big name people, Zig Ziglar and John them have a biblical based foundation in their life. Now they don't say it out in the marketplace, but that's where the power is. And it's because it's biblical based, that's why it has power, and that's why it's sustainable and it works. But Zig Ziglar says if they like you, they'll listen to you. Okay? If they trust you, they'll do business with you. Now think about that. Okay, you meet somebody, oh, that seems like a nice person, but I don't really know if I trust that person. I mean, really, you're just going to automatically do some business because somebody says nice to you? No, you want to make sure that you have some kind of connection with the person. So as we talk more about the power of relationships, I want you to understand how powerful a relationship is. Because, so Michelle, you and I, okay, we've been networking just briefly this morning. As we continue to network, I'm looking to build some kind of connection because you have some information you passed on to us earlier. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to see if there's some ways we can connect down the road, some things that maybe might benefit you and your job, okay? And then we end up building a relationship. Well, a relationship is not just me plus you, okay? A relationship as we grow is me times you. Now, does anybody understand what I mean when I say that? Okay, what I'm talking about is that now that Michelle and I have made a connection, and then we grow to where we start building a relationship. It's a business relationship. We're friendly. I can pick up the phone. I can call and say, hey, Michelle, this is Mike. How's it going? I need to talk to you about something. And it's just casual. She's like, oh, Mike, she sees me in her mind. She knows that we have some kind of connection. What I have is an entire circle of influence, circle of people that she does not even know. She has no connection to. She has the same thing. Every single person in here has what we call a circle of influence. Okay, every one of you. And I don't care if you say, well, I only go to work and I punch the clock and I show up and I leave. You have a circle of influence, okay? It may not be at work. It may be the people that you know. It may be your family and who they know. So as Michelle and I are talking, and I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. She's here in the Kansas City area. And I say, we're thinking of coming out that way, and I'm looking to establish an office. I don't even know who to talk to. What do I do? Well, then all of a sudden I say, Michelle, can you help me? She opens the door to some people that she knows that's in the industry. And then because her and I have a relationship, she allows me to go into their circle. I'm invited into their circle. Okay, you following with me? So now all of a sudden I'm in Huntsville, Alabama, and I'm invited to this circle out in Kansas City because I'm looking to come in here, and I had no idea. I would have never been able to make that connection. That's where that me times you comes into effect. And then it starts growing exponentially. That circle begets this circle. This circle opens this circle. Now think about it. If for some reason people just, well, let me back up. With your family and your close friends that you've grown up with, if y'all are at church or at some sporting event with the kids and somebody says, I got this serious plumbing issue and I don't know what to do. I don't feel like I can trust anybody. And I say, Chris, can you help me out? He goes, oh man, I got a buddy of mine that I know that's a plumber. Right. And he says, sure, man, I'll help you. Yeah, hey, just tell him, here's the number. Say, Chris told you to call. Boom. All right then, I know Chris has validated this person. And then Chris, when I call that person, I say, yeah, Chris told me to call you. All of a sudden, that person is related to me. He invites me in, and I've got a connection there. Okay. But when we get in a business setting, we tend to lose our mind and just go handing out business cards. Hi, I'm Mike Brazier. Will you do some business with me? We do leadership development. You need to call me, and because we can help you. You don't know me. And you're like, who is this tall, good-looking white guy? Maybe you say. But I mean, does that make it sense?
Yeah.
You follow me? So you have to understand, you have to think about things strategically. That if I can connect with some people, okay, then there's opportunities for me, and you never know where those opportunities are going to go because you have no idea who Christian knows. Christian may have a connection that is all the way connected to the White House, you know, or the Supreme Court, or the governor's office, and that may lead to something down the road that you could never imagine. You never know where these connections are going to be, and you never really know how deeply they are or how big their circle is until you get invited into it. Okay. All right, so let's go. I want to talk about these books that I've referenced here, and I want you to take these with you, and I want to talk a little bit about why I'm using these and a few key points out of these books. Now, I've got Proverbs as number one. Now, there's a reason, okay? Proverbs, so, and I've got the years by these because there's significance in this. Okay, now I want you to see this. The leadership development industry, and this is what we're doing here today. This is leadership development. Leadership is being able to, Dr. Watkins can define this much better than I can, but leadership is influence. Okay, he's going to give you the proper definition, but I'm going to summarize it. Leadership is influence, but you have to have yourself in the right mindset, in the right position. You have to be positioned properly to be able to receive and to understand. The leadership development industry in 2016 was listed at $14 billion a year. Okay, I want you to think about that for just a second. Let that sink in. People are paying $14 billion a year. That's 2 years ago. I know it's more. Just so they can get some personal development and growth. And how can I grow? You know, but the problem is a lot of people want things for nothing. They want something new. If it's not new and fancy and shiny, I don't want it. So that's why I have Proverbs on here. Okay, Proverbs is approximately listed that it was written in 700 BC. Okay, think about that. But when Proverbs, and you do a little research in Proverbs, the book is a compilation of a lot of books. And it relates to a pattern of life that lasted for more than 1,000 years. That focused on values, moral behavior, and just right conduct. Okay? So there is nothing new under the sun. This is all talking about the biblical principles of how you treat people. Okay? Now, remember that. Now, there's always that new shiny book, that new shiny way of doing things, but it's the same old thing. You've got to make sure that you are treating people properly. You are out to really serve somebody in a positive way instead of just, I'm trying to get something from me attitude. Okay? So what I focused on and what I want to talk about in Proverbs was about counsel, and it relates to relationships. Okay? And it's about connecting with others. So there's one piece in there. So a wise man has great power. A man of knowledge increases strength. For waging war, you need guidance, and for victory, many advisors. Okay, that's a direct relation with business. You can jump in right here, sir. Because it business, I mean, you hear it all the time. Business. Some people call business war on a daily basis. You know, they refer to it. Obviously, you know, it's not war. It's not war. But I mean, you're doing battle every day because things are coming against you. And that's what you're really doing. Every day, if you're running a business, you're working in a business, you're battling all the negative things that come at you. Let's face it, negative stuff hits us every single day. Okay? And in order for you to really benefit and to be able to fight against that, you need their strength in numbers. You need good counsel. Okay. And that, excuse me, and that is making connections. Okay. So how do you do that? Well, and I'm not going to focus on Proverbs more than that. I want to go to the 7 habits of highly effective people. Number 2, this right here is probably one of my favorite of all time, because this gives you steps of how to, number 1, get yourself positioned properly so that you can be a benefit to others. Okay? If you haven't read this book, the number 2, number 3, number 4 on this list, I recommend that you do, even if you, because personal investment in yourself creates the growth opportunities that you need. Okay, you can get them on audiobooks and just listen to you in your car. But let's talk about this, 7 habits of highly effective people. I've got the 7 listed here. Be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand, then be understood, synergize, and then sharpen the saw. Synergize is working with other people, finding connections. Okay, everywhere you go, everything you do, people are going to talk about you need to connect with other people. They call it different things, and here it's called synergize, but it is a connection. They, the chambers use the term networking. Let's have a networking event. I'm intimately familiar with the chambers, consulted with multiple chambers across the country, especially out here in the Midwest. The bottom line of that is learning how to connect with somebody so that you can build a relationship. That's the ultimate goal. What I've got down here what habits 1, 2, and 3 are, but habits 4, and 5, and 6, which are think win-win, seek first to understand, then be understood, and then synergize. They focus on developing teamwork, collaboration, communication skills, and moving from independence to interdependence. Okay, yeah. These things are essential for you as you move forward and look forward to creating types of relationships. Let's go over here to, I want to make sure we're doing on time. Okay, good. Because I want to talk through some of these, walk through some scenarios. So let's move over to how to win friends and influence people. Okay, do you see the date on that when that was written? 1936. Now, when I first read that, I thought, oh man, that's a cool new book. 1936. I probably read this 15, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's a seat up here, sir. If you want to grab that, so you don't have to sit behind the camera. And what this really is how to connect with people. This whole book is talking about how to connect with people. And the bottom line is it talks about the golden rule: treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, what does that mean? All right. Do you want somebody to shove a business card in your face and say, Travis, I'd like for you to do business with me. I sell widgets and I've got the best price in town, and I expect you to buy some. How many do you want today?
Right.
And you like, man, I don't even want to buy no widgets. No. Yeah, and you like, what even is a widget? I don't even know.
Right.
And then but Brian over here comes to me and he goes, hey, Mike, what do you do? So I sell widgets. You want to buy something? Just tell me a little bit about it. He starts asking me questions. And then once I realize that he's actually interested in what I have to say, then I start saying, well, be honest with you, I'm looking for another job. I said, nobody here is going to buy widgets from me.
Right.
I said, I can't get a sale to save my life. And he goes, well, tell me what your skill set is. I said, well, I'm actually a really good painter and a good carpenter. Why are you selling widgets? No. So you follow me? He starts asking me questions, and then we start talking, and I create a connection. And then the next thing you know, Brian tells me, he says, I got a friend that has a construction company that's looking for somebody good. You seem like a good guy. You know, you're a go-getter. You're trying real hard to sell widgets, but you're terrible at it. He said, do you paint and do carpenter work as good as you try to sell widgets? I said, actually, I'm really good at that. I work hard. Well, then all of a sudden, he gives me a connection, and then I'm able to get a job doing something that I really enjoy. Okay, that's a power of a connection. You don't know where it's going to be. I don't know. I have no idea what's happening. I'm just at this meeting, and I'm sick and miserable because I'm trying to sell widgets, and none of y'all will buy my widgets. You just making sense? Okay, so and that's where Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, really focus on is how to listen to people, how to ask questions so that you can find a connection so that you can serve that person. Tell me when I see. Thank you for coming. Now, there's 3 pieces on here. And what I've done is, out of these books, I've put down some key points for you to take a look at. Now, you got to remember, this book was written in 1936. So I want you to look at these 3 points. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Second one is give honest and sincere appreciation. Now, number 3, when I first read this, I was like, what in the world? It says arouse in the other person an eager want. Okay, I have to admit it. I had to Google that. So what explain that? What in the world is that? Okay, well, here's what it means. The only way on earth to influence other people is to talk about what they want, show them how to get that. Okay, goes back to serving. How can I help you? Okay, Maurice, if I help you get what you're looking for, okay, you will remember me. I see you again somewhere. And you're like, Mike, yeah, you don't remember what I do. You don't have a clue. You're just like, I know you helped me solve that issue. What was it? What was it you do again? And I tell you, you go, oh, yeah, but you don't even think about it. You hear it, but you remember that I helped you with this problem. Okay, and then as we start to see each other again, I see Maurice at another event. He's like, oh, hey, Mike, how's it going? Well, I immediately come up. I speak to him because we had a connection. And then he starts to realize what I do. And then when he's with his company or in his situation and he has an issue, he goes, I don't even know what we're going to do. And they say, where are we going to find an answer for this? He goes, let me call a guy. I know somebody that might be able to help me. He still don't know what I do. I've seen him 4 or 5 times. We talk. He still can't remember what I do, but he knows that I was able to help him solve an issue. So my connection with him becomes influence because all of a sudden he calls me and he goes, I got this problem. How can you help me? And it just so happens to be what I do as a company. And then boom, I'm right in the door because he's inviting me in. He's asking me. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 4th book. This is John Maxwell. People in here heard of John Maxwell? Okay. Everyone communicates, few connect. This is one of the only books that I've ever seen where he actually talks about connections. Everybody wants to talk about networking. Okay, but really the basis of the glue, like I said, there's networking, and then there's a result as a relationship. In the middle, there has to be a connection. Okay, because networking just falls on deaf ears. So he's got some pieces in here, and I'll hit these real quick. Find common ground, keep your communication simple, capture people's interests, inspire people, stay authentic. Okay. And we're gonna walk through some of these, some role plays, some examples of what this actually means. But you increase your influence in every situation. This goes back to what I was talking about with Maurice. Okay, because I helped Maurice, because he was able to solve that issue from something I helped him do that didn't benefit me. Okay, I did it without trying to gain something. Okay, I'm giving him, I'm serving. Okay, I become an influence for him. Okay, it creates influence because he looks to me now. He's like, I don't even know where to go with this. Do you know anybody? And then all of a sudden it opens up to my circles. And I can call Lisa and I say, hey, I've got this guy that I know, Maurice, that has an issue. I can't help him, but I think you might can.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden I create, and now I become an influence for you. Okay. Now this is an important piece on this B. Connecting is all about others. There's 3 pieces, and I want you to think and put yourself in this situation if you've ever experienced this. Okay, John Maxwell says he's researched this, and I know this to be true because I've experienced this over the years before I ever saw this in print. I think about it too. When you meet somebody, okay, and you're trying to do business with them and you're trying to make a connection to them, okay, think about it. If you're going to buy a car, okay, and you know what you're looking for, and the car salesman comes up to you, you're going to ask yourself these 3 questions just about every time in every situation. Number 1, is this person knowledgeable? Do they know what they're talking about? Okay. Number 2, can I trust this person? Okay. And number 3, do they care about me? Okay. Now, that sounds really broad, but think about this, okay? So if you go to buy a vehicle, and I want to go buy a pickup truck to use for work. Okay, it's got specifics. I need to have a weight rating. I need to be able to tow stuff. I need to have a crew cab. All these things are specific that I need. And I walk on the lot, and this gentleman comes up to me and says, hey, what you doing? I said, well, I'm looking for a truck. He goes, hey, we got minivans on sale today. They're great buy. This is what's going on. But he starts telling me about the minivans. And I'm like, well, I really want to know about trucks. He goes, yeah, we got a few pickups over there. He points to, one of these little mid-range trucks or small trucks. And I'm just kind of looking at him and I'm thinking, let me know what he's talking about. Okay. But then if he starts talking about truck, I said, if he starts talking to me, I said, well, I really seriously need a work truck. He goes, okay, yes. And then he starts telling me, he says, what kind of truck are you looking for? What's the application? Are you towing something? Are you hauling people? Do you need a service by? I'm thinking, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. So then all of a sudden I started talking. And then I started asking a few questions. How long have you worked here? How much time do you have in this industry? Have you been in trucks? He's like, yeah, I've been in, I worked here for 10 years, or I used to do this or do that. He starts giving me information. I'm thinking, okay, this guy might be able to trust what he's saying. And then I say, here's my price range and here's what I want. And he says, okay, well, Mr. Brazier, here's what I can do. For what you're wanting, I can't get you in that price range. And I'm thinking, okay, well, instead of him just saying, yeah, I can do it, or if I say I need my monthly payment at $400, and he says, well, I can get it to you, but it's going to be $569. And they all do it.
Yeah.
You tell them what you want, and they all go, well, automatically, I know he's not working for me because he's not listening to what I want. Okay, so credibility, we don't have a connection. I am done with him. I'm not going to listen to him. I'm like, thank you, but I'll go somewhere else. And then when you go somewhere else, now let me ask you this. When you do go somewhere and you find somebody that listens to you, that hits all 3 points, they're knowledgeable, you feel like you can trust them, and you feel like they're working for you, what do? You tell everybody you know who they are. And that's what they're doing. They're saying, be sure and tell your friends that I helped you out. Because they understand the power of a relationship, the power. They connected with you, and now they have a relationship with you. And so what are you going to do whenever you need a vehicle? From now on, you're going to go back to that one person that you connected with. Okay. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, connecting goes beyond words. They will not always remember what you did, but they will always remember how you make them feel. Okay? That is very powerful. So just like I'm talking about the car situation, the car sale, okay? I was frustrated because I went to one dealership and I felt like I was just trying to be sold something. Okay. Nobody wants to be sold, but everybody wants to be helped. I want you to help me solve my problem. Okay. So I go, finally, I'm frustrated and I go around and I find this one person. Okay. Rashawn is the one. She helps me. Did I say that right?
You did.
Yeah. Rashawn is the one that helps me. Okay. She made me feel really good. I feel like I could trust her. Okay. I don't remember exactly down the road. I'm not going to remember exactly what the situation was. I see her later on. I see her in the store. I see her in Walmart somewhere. I say, hey, how you doing? You know, I'm going to remember the good experience that I had, the relief, the trust that I had that she took care of me. Okay.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Connecting always requires energy. Okay. Now, I'm hoping that I'm connecting with you good folks here today. I know for a fact Dr. Watkins is going to connect. Okay. Because he's got energy in bunches. His energy is not my energy. My flow is a little different, more laid back, more lean, just relaxed, conversational wise. But I'm hoping that I do have some kind of energy that you're able to pick up on. So think about this. If you're out trying to connect with people and I'm like, yeah, I'm on number 4 here. Everyone communicates if you connect. Bye, John Maxwell. Yeah, it's on the page. You see that in front of you. Take that home. Y'all read that. Everybody good? You good? I mean, that is low energy. That's no energy. You gotta have the energy. And what that does, that comes from your spirit. Okay? You have to be in the right mindset to try to do this thing. Everybody has issues and everything comes against them. And there's days when you just don't feel like doing things. You gotta remember, you never know where a connection is going to come from that's of value to you. Okay. And you got to be thankful for everything you've got. You got to look for those opportunities, especially when you're talking to somebody. Always look for a way to serve somebody. Have some energy, because that's what people remember.
Yeah.
Go back to, they don't remember what you did, but they remember how you made them feel. Right. Okay. Connecting is more skillful than talent. Okay, I believe that. I believe that 100% right here, and I highlighted your credibility comes from several sources. Why I'm giving you these books to read and to research, including who recommends you, what you know, what you have done, what you can do, and how you have lived your life. Because you know for a fact, the things that you're doing, people see you, they recognize you, you're in the community, you're around people. They look at you like you may never have an idea. They may never speak to you, and just one day you have some kind of connection. They've been watching you for a long time. They're like, I like the way you do things. I really admire, Letitia, how you've raised kids. You have kids. Really admire how you've raised your kids through situations, how you've handled things. You understand what I'm saying? I've been fortunate to have some people come to me and tell me some things during my career at the chamber. Whereas I was a membership director, I was executive, different things, and I would be trying to connect with them, get them involved in different things. And they said, I've seen you over the years do a few things, and I appreciate the way you handled some situations. And I also appreciated that you may not remember, but a couple of years ago, I told you I couldn't join, and you told me you understood. You asked for my situation, and then you told me not a problem. I could still do a few things, and you tried to help me out. He said, that meant a lot to me, so now I'm ready to join. I totally forgot about that. I mean, I had no idea. That totally left my mind, but I was focused on trying to help people as much as I could in every single situation, and it came back to me in a positive way. There's there's a saying, and everybody's heard it, you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Okay. Well, there's a piece, just like we talked about connections, that most people don't relate. It's not what you know, but who you know, but it's who knows you. Okay. This goes back to this people is, you know, what do you know? What have you done? What can you do? How have you lived? Okay, so I'll use Dr. Watkins as an example. Okay, so we worked on a strategy to get Ability Plus and Dr. Watkins connected. He was from a different community, and we were pushing to get into the Huntsville community. Now, 2 years ago, do you mind me talking about this? So 2 years ago, nobody, I think it's safe to say, I mean, a minuscule amount, just for all purposes here, hardly anybody in Huntsville knew about Ability Plus. Ability Plus is a company that cares for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, mentally challenged, mentally disabled people. We employ over 600 people. One of the top 30 employers in 18, 20,000 companies within the metro. We're in the top 30. Multi-million dollars, I mean, huge impact. Hardly anybody knew. Okay, they didn't know Dr. Watkins because his career and his expertise had been in another community that wasn't connected. So we started coming in and getting positioned well and getting him in the door. And now, all of a sudden, within 2 years, he's positioned on the board of the chamber, on the board of a committee that works with government relations, two of the most powerful boards in that community. Those are where influences are, and that's where change is done. Okay, and it's because of being able to build connections and working and bringing value to the table. Okay, now it didn't just happen. We went to events. We strategically looked for opportunities to meet with the right people. We knew who the influencers were. We had done our research. So we set up meetings. We got in position and we looked. We did not go and say, we're Ability Plus. We're a company that cares for people with disabilities. Will you help us? Will you give us money? We went looking, how can we help your company connect with us so it puts your company in a positive light? And that changed the game. That flipped the script. All of a sudden, people are like, huh. And let's face it, everybody, every company wants an angle and wants to say, we give to the community. Look at us. We're a bank. We're a dealer. We're sell widgets. We do this, but we support this cause. Okay? We didn't ask for their money. There's over 400 nonprofits in the Huntsville-Madison County Metro. There's only 500,000 in the Metro. There's 2.4 million here. Okay, just to give you an idea, they're 4 times or almost 5 times bigger than us. But there's more nonprofits per capita in the Huntsville-Madison County Metro than there is anywhere else in the country. Everybody and their brothers got their hand out. Give me money. Give me money. I need money. So we came in and we said, how can we help you? They're like, you don't need our money. No, we don't need your money. I mean, yeah, we would have took their money. and let me just tell you this, because we went in and we did it that way, they gave us money. Which was a strategy on the backside anyway.
Right.
You know, everything is about being strategic, looking for opportunities for growth and connections. But it's all about serving and looking for a way to try to help somebody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So on the back page, I want to talk about. I gave you some pieces for networking strategy. We're going to talk through that, but I also want to do some role play. I'm going to have some volunteers, or I'm going to have to pick you out. Okay, Gary. So just a second, but I'm going to call you up. I'm going to need some other people too. So, okay. Charmaine. All right. Okay, so let's talk about this. Now, these are some things, and I want you to understand too, everything that we talked about, everything that we'll talk about today, everything that I've talked about, these things are personal experiences. Dr. Watkins builds on things that he uses personally to develop himself as a great leader. I do the same thing. I pull in everything he talks about. I take things from my past that I've learned, situations, my failures, my struggles, my victories, everything like that. I'm learning from them. These experiences that we're talking about are things that we use every single day in every single situation. Now, I also want to tell you about connecting. I use this in my personal life and with my wife and my relationship with her. There's times, husbands in here will admit it, even if their wives are not beside them, that we're not the best husbands because we don't communicate properly. That's a problem that we have, okay? So, and there's times when my wife will let me know that I'm not communicating properly, okay? And so I take these things right here and I think about, okay, I don't need to just practice this at work. I need to practice this at home. And I do. And let me tell you, it works. Okay, so remember that. So here's some strategy, here's some points, and these are some things that you need to remember because I've used them, I've pulled them from other people that are successful, and they work. Okay. And also remember too, as you grow, as you learn to develop yourself, look at people that are doing things at a different level. Always look for somebody that is successful, and don't be afraid to ask them, what do you do? How'd you get to this point? How do you handle this situation? You may not do it exactly the way they do it, but they may give you a piece of information you think, I could probably do that. You take that information and use it to your own. In business world, it's called sharing best practices. Okay? You don't have to emulate, it's called emulating somebody else. Okay? It's not doing exactly what they do, but it's taking the principles that they do and using them so that they work for you. Okay? So just these are what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great attitude. Okay. Now think about this. If you don't have a good attitude when you go into a business meeting or a networking event or a conference or a seminar, then why are you even there? I mean, you're not only wasting the time of the presenter, but you're wasting your own time.
That's right.
I mean, you've got to get your mind right so that you can receive the information. So if I walk in and I'm just like, sit here. How's it going today? Yeah, man, it's all right. It's all right. It's not good. How you doing, man? Good to see you. You good? You having a good time? Yeah, that's good. They're like, oh, who's that guy over there? You don't talk to him. I mean, your attitude is horrible. Okay, but if you come in here and you're like, hey, how are you doing? Very nice to meet you. Thank you for coming today. And I'm engaging you. My attitude, you're thinking, okay, this guys appreciate that I'm here. Does it make sense? Attitude is everything. Okay. When I said, if you remember, I said something about being strategic. Okay, you have to have a plan. Now think about this. So you go into a business meeting, you go into a networking event, any kind of seminar, like I said, you don't need to just go in there and they go, what are you here for? I don't really know. I got a good attitude, but I don't really know why I'm here. Who do you want to meet? Somebody in business. Does that make any sense? Okay. So first of all, you need to look at the event. Okay, who's going to be there? Okay, well, I sell X, and I need to connect with somebody that does Y. Okay, well, there ain't no Y's in there. They're all ABCs. You follow what I'm saying? Maybe that's not the right event for you. Okay, have a plan. Don't just show up to You know, because if you just start going to all kinds of events and you don't really know what's going on, you're not networking. You're just net hanging out. I mean, and you know, and then it becomes to, you know, it's called networking for a reason. Okay, you're there to work. You're there to work a plan so that you can move yourself forward. Okay, makes sense?
Yeah.
And then you ask questions. That goes back to learning how to connect with people. Okay, if I ask Tony questions, if I come up and I ask Tony about himself, I mean, about what you do, you know, what are you doing here? What are you looking to do? You know, what's some issues that you need to work on, or you know, you're trying to find an answer to a particular question that you need. Well, once I know what he's doing, then I can help him. Okay, it's about him. I'm making it about him. If I ask the right questions of Tony, then it goes back to what I was telling you about. Tony starts saying, okay, this guy might seem a little knowledgeable. He's asking me questions. And then all of a sudden, because he's looking to see what I need, I might trust this guy. Okay, and because he continues to ask me how he can help me and what I do and what my situation is, he might even care about me. And then all of a sudden, I got a connection. Does it make sense? Be yourself. Now here, this sounds very simple, but it is hard to believe how many people try to be something they're not when they go out in the business world. They try to pretend that they have some level of education or a certain standing within their company, or, you know, I know so much and I'm going to tell you every single thing I know about this. I know so much about this bucket and how it was made. Let me tell you, Michelle, you know, all this kind of stuff. You're like, what does that have to do with anything? I don't even know, you know. So instead of me just asking questions and trying to be relatable to you and being comfortable in myself, I've just totally ruined any connection possibilities at all. You know, if somebody is not going to connect with you for who you are, you don't need to connect with that person. That is not for you. Not every connection is for you. Okay? Listen. Listen to people. Okay? I can say, Miss Lisa, tell me about yourself, and you're talking to me and I'm listening. Okay. And you say, I'm born and raised here in Kansas City. Okay. We're having a conversation. I'll say later, okay, so where are you from?
Right.
And you say, well, I'm born and raised in Kansas City. Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. I'm talking to somebody. So, Lisa, you from somewhere else, right? I mean, I'm not listening to you at all. So it kills my credibility, right? Mm-hmm. I have no credibility because I'm not paying attention. Okay. And then follow up. Okay, this is a key piece that most people do not do. So I've made the effort. I've had a great attitude. I went in with a plan. I've tried to connect. I've asked questions. I've tried to help. I'm listening to what you're saying, and then I never call you. I never follow up. I never do anything. And then you see me. Marie says, hey, man, how's it going? I'm like, oh, yeah. Wasn't I supposed to be looking for that information? I was supposed to give that to you. Yeah, I'll send that to you. Go, no, man, don't bother. I've already got it taken care of. And we're done. My credibility it's over. I have none. Because I put in the work. Now think about this. People have to do stuff just about all the time. They don't follow through. Yeah. Now, and I have to admit, I'm guilty of it right now. There's things, because as your world expands, things happen. You get busy and you start taking on too much, but that's where you have got to stay on track and follow through with what you do. You got to work that plan. That part of your follow-up has to be part of your plan. So come on up here. We're going to talk through a few things while I have a few minutes. Still doing good. So what I want to do is we're going to stand like this. You're going to face me, okay? Right here. Can everybody see me? I want you to be able to see me. Can you see me? Okay, so what we're going to do is talk about how you might handle a few situations if you're in an event, you're talking to people, okay? Now, one would be if Gary's trying to connect with me, okay, so what I want you to do, introduce yourself, try to talk to me, no matter what I do, okay? No matter what I say, no matter how I act, just keep trying to talk to me, okay? So I'm standing here at this event, and Gary thinks maybe I'm somebody that he should connect with, okay? So just come up and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Gary.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's your name?
Gary.
Oh, hey, how you doing, Gary?
I just wanted to,
Hey, tell me stuff. Hey, did you say something?
yeah, I just wanted to get you.
Oh, okay. Hey, Maurice, how's it going, man? You good? Good. Now, see, now this is what I want you to understand. This is what I want you to understand. These are situations, I've had these situations.
Yeah.
We talked about these situations. So Gary's talking to me and I'm not paying any attention to Gary, okay? All right, and he continues to try to talk. He's trying to be polite. He's trying to connect. So he did the right thing in that situation, but what you need to understand is somebody that's gonna do that, if I'm gonna do that to him and I've never met him, I am not worth his time, period. I don't care what my position is, I don't care who I am. It's not worth his time to connect with me. He needs to move on, period. He needs to step away, and you need to get away from somebody like that, okay? That's not good, because if somebody does not give you the respect that you need up front, they are not worth your time, okay? Now, who else is coming up? I need somebody else. Come on. I need one more person. Come on. What's your name?
Queena.
Come on, Queena. Okay. So what we're gonna do is y'all are gonna be in a conversation. Now, how many times have you seen a situation where you were trying to talk to somebody but the group is closed? Have you done that? So y'all kind of you don't have to get that close. We're in church now. Y'all are talking, but I'm trying to, I want to meet Gary, okay? So I've seen Gary and I want to connect with Gary. He's not into it. He's not seeing me, or he's not noticing I want to speak, or these are longtime friends and they're kind of turned in and they're talking. Okay, so I'm coming in and I'm trying to get his attention. So they're just look at each other like y'all are in a conversation. And I'm trying to get in. Okay, so what happens if I do this? If I go, oh, excuse me. Hey, Gary, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. Okay, so what does Gary think about that all of a sudden? I just interrupted. I'm rude, right? I mean, but I'm like, I'm here to meet Gary. And I'm not hanging out, guys. I'm networking. So I'm supposed to meet Gary, right? So I just busted into this conversation and I was rude. So go back to talking. So what I would do is I would see that was going on. I maybe walk around, just to kind of get an idea. I'm looking for Gary to make eye contact with me without busting into that group. And then at one point, if I come back and Gary looks at me and how you doing? He may say hello. Okay, so he's acknowledged me. So I'll look around the room and then all of a sudden, she turns away and she's speaking over here. And you're talking with Gary. And then I come back and Gary looks at me. I said, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to say hello. When you get a chance, I'd like to speak with you. Okay, do you follow me? I didn't bust in, but I kept my eye on him. I'm watching him. I'm stalking Gary. I'm stalking Gary in a friendly way, in a legal way. So does that make sense?
Yeah. That's good. I do that all.
There's some,
I'm not in a band.
let's see. I had something else that just slipped my mind. What were we gonna do? Got any other situations? Yeah, tell me something. Yes, okay. All right, so let's talk about that.
we're talking.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
We're talking,
Okay.
whatever conversation is.
Okay.
They just come in, cut me off,
right.
and address it.
So Gary and Charmaine are having a conversation, and I'm a longtime friend with Charmaine. Y'all talk like you're talking, okay? And I go up and I go, hey, Charmaine, how's it going? Good to see you. How's everything going? Good, good. And I'm not even looking at Gary. I'm ignoring Gary. And I just busted their conversation, okay? So.
Right.
Yeah, Gary looks for Charmaine to correct. Most of the time, Charmaine's not going to correct. Okay, and it's nothing negative on Charmaine. It's just that, and you got to understand this, folks. Most people are extremely uncomfortable when they're out in a networking setting.
Right.
Okay, they really are. They are nervous. That's why it's giving you those points of the attitude, the plan. You got to have these things in mind because when you go, 95% of people are nervous. They go, I don't even want to be here. I don't know what to do. Okay, so Charmaine is right in that mix.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as she sees me, she's like, oh, thank goodness Gary was asking me questions. I was uncomfortable because I don't really feel I don't know Gary. And so she's talking to me. She's not gonna, correct this situation. So what Gary needs to do in that situation, Gary needs to just kind of see who I am. If I'm a good connection with Gary, he needs to see maybe Gary knows me, or maybe Gary knows somebody that I know. And then if we keep talking, Gary can just say, Charmaine, it's nice to talk to you. Hopefully we'll get a chance to catch up. And he can look at me and say, I didn't get a chance to say hello. My name's Gary. And then he walks away. Okay? Just ease yourself out of it. You got to understand that people, as a general rule, are uncomfortable. They're looking for people that they know, and they're not really going to correct those rude situations. It's unlikely that they're going to do it because Charmaine saw me as a way to relieve her and relax her because she was really uncomfortable engaging with Gary. Not anything to do with Gary. It's just that we're uncomfortable in those situations. Does it make sense?
And also, Charmaine stopped and said, Gary, this is Mike. Mike does such and such and such.
Right.
There might be a connection between you, Gary.
That's perfect, and that's the next point, and that's what you need to do as a networker, as a connector, as a relationship builder. When you see those situations, when you're involved in those situations, that's when Charmaine says, hey, Mike, great to see you. Let me introduce you to Gary. Everything you should be doing is trying to connect other people.
Right.
Okay? Everything. And y'all can sit down. Y'all go ahead and sit down. Let me tell you, thank you very much. So when you go to a networking event, when I talk about having a plan, have somebody that you know that's going to be there. Have a partner. This goes all the way back to the very beginning. We were talking about Proverbs. We were talking about power of counsel, power of connections. Have somebody that's going to be with you. Make that part of your plan that you've got somebody there so that you can work a room with. Okay. Every single event that Dr. Watkins and I go to. Okay, now there's a couple of things because of the position that he's been moved to and the boards and some of these committees, I can't go. But on the larger group, on the larger events, we go as a team. Now, we know, they know us now. They see us together because we work the room together. Okay, and it's funny how you see individuals go, they look lost. Because they are lost. They're looking for somebody to talk to. But because we sit down, think about this, people gravitate to numbers of people, to groups. But gravitate to a group because it's safe. I don't want to go talk to that one person over there that's not speaking to somebody that looks like they don't know what they're talking about. Now, that's another teaching. We'll talk about that another time. But Dr. Watkins and I can talk to each other about different situations, and like who we're gonna go see. And what normally happens almost all the time, people come up to us, and it'll be an individual that'll come up to us. The next thing you know, you've got multiple people. But what we'll do is, I'll say, we're looking for a specific individual. We'll be in a room of 1,200 people. He might go this way and I'll go this way, and we'll meet in the middle. We'll find him. But even if we can't, we don't know the people, we work ourselves around to where we connect again. And then we start working back through. But I have somebody that I can connect with. Because if I get with that person that wants to lock me down and tell me every detail, he'll see me and he'll come over and I'll say, have you met Dr. Watkins? And I will talk and I'll change the subject like that, but I'm doing it politely. And it's a way for us to get out.
Mhm.
Or I may see somebody that we really need to connect with and they don't know me. And I come up and I'll say, hello, how you doing? And then I'll say, I want to introduce you to Dr. Watkins. He's the CEO of our company. And oh, okay. And then there's some prestige there. It's a way for me to make a connection. No, I don't even know me. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So there's power in the relationships. There's power in a plan of how you connect with people. It's not just random. It's a skill that you can learn, and you can learn it very well. And I've given you some information on the handout that I feel like will be beneficial to you down the road. If you'll take a look at these things, look into these books, I feel like they will provide some valuable information for you. I know it's been well for me. And I hope that you've got something positive out of this teaching this morning.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you very much for allowing me to speak. And I've enjoyed it.
Well, hopefully you got something out of that, because if you use that, I promise you, it would carry you to another place. And as Mike said, these are not just something that we put on paper. These are things that we actually use all the time. And in 2 years, especially when you use for 2 years, and in 2 years, we've positioned ourselves in a very prominent place in our community. I don't know if you know about Huntsville a lot. How many know about Huntsville, Alabama? Anybody know about Huntsville, Alabama? A few of y'all been there. Well, Huntsville, Alabama now considered the smartest city in America now. The smartest, more PhDs and engineers per capita in Huntsville than any place in America. Time magazine just named Huntsville 7th leading city in America. And Huntsville just was nailed down the Mazda Toyota deal. Was $1.6 billion investment, largest investment in the United States right now to this day.
Behind Amazon.
Amazon just came. So Huntsville is a growing place. Huntsville has about I think $1 billion more GDP than Birmingham. So it is a growing place. The reason I'm saying that is because we're doing this in a very prominent, a very growing area. We just this right here, what we just taught you, allowed me to text the president of Toyota, Alabama, and us sit down 2 days ago for lunch, just talk about some other things that we're doing. The very thing we just talked about allowed me to tell Mike to give secretary of one of the largest credit unions in America just received an award of the #1 company in America to talk to the CEO and just have a one-on-one and both of us crying in the office. I'm not saying to brag, I'm saying that if you use this for your personal life, you use this for your business, then you'll be surprised of the things that can happen for you and happen for you real soon. Because leadership is influence. It's the capacity to influence others through inspiration, motivated by our passion, generated by our conviction, ignited by our purpose. And that's what we do. We lead. And you have to lead in every single phase of your life. And even in the church world, because one thing that Mike talked about connecting is connecting with others, all about people trusting you and you're knowledgeable and those various things, because we're selling. Everybody's selling something.
Yeah.
Whether we're selling the kingdom of God, whether we're selling a widget or gadget, whether we're selling leadership, whatever, we're selling something, right?
Right.
And so it's very important that we know how to sell ourselves. If you can't sell yourself, then you're gonna be in trouble. So, and let me say this one thing. Let's give Apostle Wesley and Pastor Lisa just another hand for us being here. Now, let me say this. Don't take this. Don't be offended by this. On the flyer it says free, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Michelle and say no cost because nothing is free.
Right.
If it's free to you, you want to appreciate it.
Right.
Now, I'm here because of networking and relationships.
Yeah.
I have a relationship with this man and woman of God. I have a relationship with these great people, okay? And so I'm here because of relationship. And I brought, because our team, Dr. Audra and Mr. Mike, with us because of relationship. Now, I never, ever, I did not say, you need to pay me my minimum fee. Right? And I said, no. And I make pretty good out. It ain't $200. It ain't $500. Okay, no, right? Okay. So the reason I'm saying, so you're here and you didn't pay my minimum fee.
Mm-hmm.
But don't think that this is free.
Mm-hmm.
If it's free to you, you won't value it.
Right.
It's because of relationship. And the reason I say that, and I'll definitely say that to us in, most of us in ministry and churches over here. That's why we don't get what we need to get out of teachings. Because we approach it as being free.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But if you have to pay, like most times we do this, and people minimum, they're gonna pay $1,500 an hour. Whoever have me in will pay that.
Right.
And then sometimes the individual may pay $100 for the session or whatever. There's value to that. But we're here because of relationship.
Right.
Right. We having this teaching 2 weeks. Beck is having something at the church outlet. And for them to get through that door, they got to register and pay. Can I usher? No, we need you to usher. It's a church. we got people that will take care of that. This is a professional training event. Come to the door, you're going to pay. I'm saying that because when we build relationships with people, people can get you through doors that your money is not big enough to get you through.
Right.
You need to go through the door, but you don't have the money to go through the door. But because of relationship. Because I have a relationship with this guy who's a billionaire, who fly me in his private jet. Then I go in the green room, and John Maxwell and I are teaching on the same platform, and we in there kicking. That ain't because I'm a good guy. I ain't said to brag. That ain't because I'm I am anointed. But it's because we built a relationship. And the person who brought me in the room can trust that I won't ruin that relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're talking about networking. One more thing, and then we're going to break for a second, I think, and then I think Barbara can teach us, show us, or inspire us, and he'll do something. Okay? But the people who you may lead can help you in relationships. Now, Mike Brazy is a very humble guy, but he's a bad white boy.
Yeah.
Bad white boy right there. That know a lot of people because he worked in chambers that know him, that he says, hey, Mike, they don't know Doc. Now, they know Doc now. Most of them didn't know Doc. They say, hey, Mike. And he said, hey, do you know Dr. Watkins? This is my CEO. You work for him? Instantly, I got credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I bring him credibility. So we work it that way. So we want to work the room. I'm his pastor. I'm his boss. He's the first person I think is in every part of my life, except, my wife has all the parts of my life because she loves me as well. It's not good situation, but he's part of the ministry with me. He's part of leadership company. He's part of our company that we employ 600 people. Okay, so I lead him, but at the same time, I let him lead me.
Amen.
That's
Good.
Because it's about relationships that's gonna bring results, and we need to bring results. So he on that side of the room, he on that side of the room. I'm talking to somebody, he like, he like, they ain't worth your time, dog. They're not where you at. They're not worth your time. Good people, but not worth your time. So you're like, Then he like, and we zoom in on somebody. Zoom, we'll find you, Brian. We work you from every angle as possible. Being nice and everything. You know, we're not asking you for anything. Can I do anything for you? That's what I'm gonna say after the conversation. Now I don't know if I can do anything for you or not. You look like you got everything you need. But I'm asking you, can I do anything for you? Letting you know that, hey, this is reciprocal. I'm not trying to get something from you. See what I'm saying? So I hope what you got in this man speaking and teaching us today. I took a little notes myself. So we do this all the time. I'm still taking notes. You see, that'll help you improve your networking, your building relationships. How many of you all own a business or think about owning a business or or one of your promotion in your job? Okay, so people don't pay you for what you do; they pay you for what you know. If you want to make any money in life, get to a place that they got to pay you for what you know, but not for what you do. Because we can get a bunch of people that can do what you do, but we don't have a bunch of people that know what you know. People who make money is not based on what they do per hour. It's based on what they bring to the table. Okay? Dr. Odd is VP of administration for us. She has a 600-member headache every day. But we're not paying her for what she do. Matter of fact, when you don't know her, she do a whole lot. Who do you pay her for? Who do you pay you for what you know? Okay? Now, how do you know things? You get around people who know. Listen to this. Don't forget this. Dr. Charles Bell was an IBM fellow. I first started with IBM almost 30 years ago. He told me this one thing. He said, you don't have to play the game that's being played, but you got to know the game that's being played.
Right.
Listen to this. And you cannot know the game that's being played if you're not around the players.
Right. Yeah. Play that again.
So you don't have to, I want to play that game. I want to do this on, compromise. You don't have to compromise. We don't compromise. Right? Praise the Lord. No. You don't have to know, you don't have to play the game that's being played. But you got to know the game that's being played.
Wow.
And you cannot know the game that's being played unless you're around the players. Relationship and networking get you around the players. So then you can know how to operate in this world, right? Okay. So any questions for Mike on this? He's our resident expert on what we're doing. So, come back over to Mike. Can I get a microphone? Because people, I think it's streaming outside.
Well, the networking and said people most times uncomfortable. What is the key to moving people past the same old people that they know? But most of people are comfortable around people that they know and get them to move out to people they don't know.
That's a great question.
Well, that's where you take that plan that we talked about, that strategy, and then so for example, just if you're talking in general, how to move somebody out, or are you talking about moving people that you know out of that situation? Yeah. It's somebody has to be there that can start introducing and breaking down those barriers. Okay, just like we're there. If Doug doesn't know somebody, maybe he's new, and I say, come on, let's go to this event. He's like, man, I don't really feel like coming. Well, I start introducing him to people that I know, that I already have a connection with. All right, and going back to connection, I'm trusting them. Okay, I know they care about me. So they're automatically going to receive him and make him feel comfortable. So then he starts to feel comfortable at those events. Because when you go into an event, always look, like I said, try to take somebody you know. If you can't take somebody, look for that one person that you know. Go to that one person and speak to that person. That way you're not standing there by yourself. And then when you're talking with that one person, say, do you know anybody else in here? Let's go together and talk to them. The next thing you know, you're moving around and you're talking to people, and people are looking at you and they're like, how do you know so many people? Okay. Or can you introduce me to that person over there? Somebody told me I was supposed to meet them, but I don't really know who they are or how to do it. Does that make sense? Yeah,
And I think that when you use those mechanics that Mike just described, and then you build confidence, and the reason I'm saying is because the next session will be on confidence, and you build it with confidence, then you're unstoppable. You got to have those strategies that everyone needs to have in order to network, but if you undergird that with true confidence, then you'll push yourself out. We'll talk about that in the next session. There's one question and another one, then I think we need to wrap it up. Right, Michelle? Michelle, Michelle. She's leading me.
You guys do good.
Good morning.
Morning.
My question is, so in the area of ministry that I operate in, as an artist, I find that when I do go to networking events, it's difficult because it's a male-dominated area. That it's difficult for people to see past my femininity, my womanhood. And because it's artistry, there's already a preconceived idea of what women represent. So how do I, because I've had not so good experiences and I'm already nervous just because I'm nervous. So it's difficult for me to go into a networking event and to be seen as not only an artist, but a business person and a person of ministry because, just because I'm a woman. So how do I?
And when you say artist,
Yes.
define that.
Okay, I'm a recording artist. I sing.
Sing.
Okay.
I'm a singer-songwriter. And, that's a very, and I do a little bit of production too. And again, all of that is really male-dominated. Not a lot of women operating in that area.
I answer then I answer from culture.
Okay, so what I was going to suggest is when you go to an event, do you have a plan? Are you looking to accomplish something specific?
Yes. So, for example, a couple of years ago, I went to the Stellar Awards, and they have several events where new artists, independent artists can come in. They can network, they can meet. They have panels and different people to talk with, and interact with. And so just to give a quick story, I had a copy of my CD, a single, and the person and I happened to see someone that I knew that was a well-connected producer. I was a fan of his work, and so I wanted to be able to connect with him at this event. The problem was though is when I went to introduce myself, I offered him my CD. He would not take it, and he wanted to give me his personal number. So it was extremely awkward for me, and I didn't know what to do.
Okay. All right. Well, let's back up. Let's start on the business side
Okay.
first. Okay.
That's a lot. I'm so sorry.
No,
That's
you're
what I
good.
really want to
You're
know.
good. So going back to, do you have a plan? Okay. Number one, you need to understand the event that you're going to. Okay. All right. There's certain events that allow for certain types of interactions and certain types of situations. If you're at a broad type of event, you got to realize, say you're in a group and it's 200, 300, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 people at a big conference. Okay. Everybody that is there is looking to connect like you are. Okay. So it's going to be difficult for you to jump in and do business when you go to something like that, like you're trying to give them your CD.
Yeah.
Okay. No, please, I'm not trying. I don't want to offend you or anything.
I
That's almost like what I was talking about earlier when I'm trying to give Travis
Okay.
my business card and say, buy my widgets.
Okay.
Okay. What you need to do, and what I would recommend that you do in situations like that is look at who the attendees are. Okay. So if I'm an artist and I have a CD, I'm looking at who the attendees are, and I see a specific producer that I want to connect with, then I'm going to try to connect with that person. Do not give the music at that time. You
Okay.
need to connect ask, introduce yourself, get a business card, look for an opportunity to meet outside the event or have a conversation, a business meeting, anything outside the event. Now, this goes for all networking events. You do not do business at a general networking event.
Okay.
That's to create an opening and an opportunity so that you can follow up. And what I said on the list is you follow up. That's where the business is done, is on the follow-up side.
Okay.
And then that way you get an opportunity to sit down and talk because you made some kind of connection. So it opens the door for you to be able to call on that follow-up
Okay.
and say, hey, enjoyed seeing you at the conference. It was very good to meet you. Nice to connect with you. Is there a chance that we can have a meeting over coffee? I've got some things that I feel that could be mutually beneficial for us. And then that's when the opportunity presents itself to give the CD.
Okay.
Now, and if I can get this real quick, because the chamber issue, the chamber world is a big issue where there's going to be men that are looking to hit on women. That's going to happen everywhere you go. There's going to be women that are looking to hit on the men. That's just part of the world we live in. And you just have to take that with a grain of salt and move on. Somebody says, can I have your personal number? No, you can't. Here's my business phone if you want to talk, but no. And just go on, drop it. If somebody is focusing in on that, you don't want to do business with that person. Move to somebody else. There's plenty of people out there.
And quickly, and then we'll ask one more question, and then I think we've got a break to get to time. When you said, male-dominated industry, no matter what the industry is dominated by, you know who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. Most of the meetings I'm in, I'm the only black man in that room. Maybe one more black lady, maybe. I tell the truth. Sure. Matter of fact, I text my kind of relationship. Sometimes I text, I say, only one here today.
Right. Just
okay. But here's the deal.
Okay.
I'm not going in as a black man.
Come on,
Amen.
man.
Okay.
You're not going in as a black woman.
Right.
You're going in as an audience.
Right.
No matter who you're dominated by, because
That's
the power to define is the power to determine destiny. I said it one time. The power to define is the power to determine destiny. So define who you are in that going into that meeting, and then your destiny will roll out to be positive.
Yeah.
Not going as a black woman, this male down there, you looking around on the black woman. No. I'm going as a black man. I'm going as a person. I treat as him because I'm going as a person, and we talking person to person.
Right.
And so now I'm getting rid of my own unconscious bias about myself.
Right.
Okay.
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 Yes, sir. You got power to define.
Define. Are you
is the
saying
power to
define?
determine destiny.
Are you saying power to define?
The power to define. Define.
Okay.
Sorry, that Alabama, I mean, straight E's in engineering school. Define. D-E-F-I-N-E. About D. Not D-I. D-E.
Hey, we together, we can.
So I got one question. I got to answer.
I just want to know, will we have an opportunity after this is over to ask you?
Yes, we can ask.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how do you foster if you're hosting the networking event? How do you foster the full flow of the actual networking? Right? Because like say Apostle or say me or say Bishop, right? And even Bishop Tony, people then attract, and how do we kind of push them out to do the networking that we wanted to host them to do? The reason why we hosted the event in the first place.
Yeah, what?
So what I would do, so if you're running the show, gather a few key people, make sure they understand the plan, and say, here's what we're gonna do. You work the room, you go down this side, you go down this side, I go down the middle. Anybody you see standing there, you engage them. You look, you ask them questions, find out what their needs are, why they're there, and you look for somebody to connect them. And if I don't have somebody, then Dr. Watkins and I are doing this, I'm talking with somebody, and I look at him, he's got somebody, we introduce them together. You are the one, you're stirring it, okay? You're stirring everything. You keep things moving. And you look for ways, you know the plan, so you keep moving the plan forward. And I keep looking for ways to connect people. And I've got a partner, okay? There's power in relationships, there's power in numbers, okay? So together, it's not me plus him, it's me times him.
So what does the scripture say? One chase 1,000, two for what?
2,000.
10,000, not 2,000.
10,000.
10,000. Power of multiplicity. Okay, so we need to end this session. So Michelle will get me on in authority and under authority. Okay, and then we're gonna take a 10-minute break, and then I think Jabbar's gonna come. Okay. Right, sir. Okay, all right. So if you got something out of that, shout successful Saturday.
Successful Saturday. Let's get on my nerves.
Thank you for helping me.
Oh,
Hey, clean up. Yes, ma'am.
I did do track. Okay. I did some miles. Yeah, so let me give you my number so that you can call me when you get started. And then just send me a text and tell me if you started to save it. I have to, I'm gonna call myself. No. I'm gonna have to bring something back and write it down. You want me to write it?
Well, I usually go by Tisha. You want me to put Tisha?
You can say Tisha, that's fine.
I used to do shirts, but I guess you could put eyes under there. Oh, that's
You know, I don't know nothing wrong.
Hey, that's that daughter of mine. Like, Mama, try something new.
Yeah. It's not gonna hurt your kid.
Right.
And that's not gonna take you out of the will of God. Let's put it that way. We don't care.
Right. No, I know too. No, I know. Because then, like, yeah, that's fine. Right. Yeah, that makes No, I'm thinking about we used to give guys, you can consider the fire, what's the fire thing, I know this is going to be real good.
It is already. Right. Right. I'm excited about it.
Amen. All right, God bless.
Hey, Bishop, possibly you get that.
I look for my mic. How you? Good. How the gallery? I'm blessed. How you doing? Good to see you.
All right, we want to call the meeting back together. If you're out in the hallway, please come in and have your seat. We are so excited. It's been a great first session and great questions and great answers, but we're just grateful and thankful for this time. And really, my son is, he's the head of Novel City Chamber of Commerce. He does a lot of things that I didn't even know he did, and met a lot of people that I didn't know he knew. But I told him yesterday I was extremely proud of him and the anointing on his life. He's a marketplace minister. And one of the things that sometimes in the church we don't understand is why is he not around a lot? It's because God's got him in the marketplace. And he's touching a lot of people's lives and very well qualified, very well educated, you know. We thank God for Jamar Wesley and what he is doing in our community. So he's got some things he wants to share with us about innovation and some other things. So we all put your hands together and receive him in Jesus' name.
All right, good morning. Like I said, I'm Jabbar Wesley, born and raised here in Kansas City. A little bit about my background. I have a master's in economics and certificate in economic development. And so that's kind of how I got into entrepreneurship and innovation, working for the gas company. We just deal with so many different businesses. I was working on Kansas City Chamber, Kansas City Area Development Council on business attraction projects. You're familiar with Cerner. I know you are familiar with Cerner. But I did the economic analysis for that project. So I've dealt with huge businesses. I've dealt with small micro businesses that are trying to get off the ground. And so a little bit of background about Novel City Chamber. So our organization started in 2007, and initially it started as United Races of America. That's why I was intrigued by the partnership here, because what I was seeing was like, okay, we need to identify the unique factors in other people that are different than us and complement that, and that's that was the idea around it. But like I said, I got into economic development and it kind of morphed. And then in 2011, Google selected Kansas City out of about 1,100 cities for their ultra-fast Google Fiber to come to the city. And so the mayor put together a bi-state innovation committee. So I was like, okay, I'm about to engage with this, working with Sister Gloria Kimbrough's son, Josh Kimbrough, and we started getting plugged in with the decision makers in the city. And then we were like, hey, another opportunity for us is to assume leadership roles. And so I was at the time on the executive board for the South Kansas City Chamber. And I said, we need to start our own innovation committee because that's more broad, the bi-state innovation. We need something focused on in South Kansas City. So long story short, we started that. We assembled a team. It was CEOs of startups and some lawyers and things like that. So we were like, hey, we need to do an event and convene some subject matter experts and really showcase what we got here. So we started, you can go to the next slide. The next slide, actually. Next slide, we'll come back to that one. So we started the Novel Day Innovation Showcase. And what we did was, I believe like in the multitude of counsel, there's safety. A lot of this is coming from that. And we talk about knowledge a lot. And so there's 6 areas that we focus on, which is media. And this is something that you can apply to your own business. So when you start your business, these 6 subject matter experts, you need somebody like this on your advisory team that you can just get coaching from. So it's media, research, education, law, finance, and technology. And so that's media, research, education, law, finance, and technology. And so, so that's how our organization is a nonprofit organization. We have a 9-member board, but what I did was layer that with an executive advisory board. So our 9-member board is, retired, some of the average workers that have some experience in the marketplace. But my executive advisory team, I mean, these are people that kind of rock stars in their respective industry. We got one guy on our board that coaches us on finance. So all of my board members, I have someone in the finance industry, media, research, education, and I can pull on them for information and things that I need. So out of that, we convene those subject matter experts. We bring together entrepreneurs that have novel ideas and startups, and we showcase them. And the idea is to give them exposure and then plug them in and try to get them access to capital or whatever they need. So that's kind of how it works. If you go back to the next slide, this is something that we're working on right now. It's called Novel City Ventures. And we got a partnership with, God blessed us with a partnership with Kaufman Foundation. And it took a lot of, they've been helping us with Novel City or Novel Day Innovation Showcase since 2012. And we plugged in and we were trying to go after a larger amount of funds. But Kansas City, we're trying to change the mindset here from the show me mentality to a novel mentality. Yeah. So the contrast with that is a reactionary mentality, like we're risk averse, we don't want to step out on faith and do things. But the novel mentality is forward thinking. Hey, we're going to assume a leadership role, we're going to identify opportunities, and we're going to make it happen. And so that's the whole idea of what we're trying to do is just change mentalities. And so the Novel City Ventures program, they were excited about it because they focus solely on entrepreneurship. And we were focused on innovation and providing solutions. They were like, okay, there's a difference between entrepreneurship and innovation. So that's what we like about what you're doing. So we got a pot of local money, we got a pot of national money, we got a pot of global money. Let's work with you and see what we can do on a local level. And then we can try to replicate what you're doing in different ways. And so Novel City Ventures is basically a 12-session program where we plug in entrepreneurs. So we start with a 12-member cohort. So for the innovators, and then we also have opportunity for nonprofits that are focused on social impact and things like that. So we call them ecosystem developers, and so we plug them in as well. And so we bring in the subject matter experts. We take them from need assessment. A lot of people don't know they just start a business, but it's really not a need for what you're starting. And it ends up being a hobby, And so our idea is like, let's thoroughly go through that process and identify an actual need in the market that has revenue potential. And so preferably large revenue potential. And then we take them all the way through sustainability. So a lot of people don't think about the exit strategy. So when you start your business, it can be a church, thinking about, succession plans and things like that. And if you're for-profit, exit strategy on whether you're getting bought out or going public or just maintaining and making it a legacy company. So that's that process. And so we just asking for you all to pray for that, because one scripture all of this is based on is Colossians 1:16. And just paraphrasing, all things are created by Christ for Christ. And so whatever you're doing, I just believe in my heart that God will use anything to get his glory and lead you to people that you are assigned to. And at the same time, you still got that, you're accountable to tell people about Jesus. I mean, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. But at the same time, we want to, we're in this world, but we're not of it. We have to live in this world. We can make change. We can live prosperous. We have to, because there's things that need to be done. And so, we need to assume those leaders. I say leadership is a currency. That's our currency. Leadership is our currency. We got to step forward and say, hey, today's the day. I know a lot of this stuff that I'm doing, I'm like, my wife is like, okay, why are you doing this? Because sometimes it's like you can't see what the benefits are, but you got to keep going, because the one thing that I wanted to leave this group with is a sense of a divine mission. And so that's the real goal of innovation in this project, is helping people identify what their divine mission is, and getting them on that track. And that's what the church is designed for. It's a mission based. You're supposed to identify that unique factor in each one of the members and send them out just like Jesus did with the apostles. And so that's the idea behind our City Ventures. And so with that, we also, you can go to the final slide. So that. So we think about a lot about collective impact. You see a picture with myself and Mayor Sly James, and he came to our event on August 16th. So I don't have a strong relationship with Mayor James, but he knows who I am and the things that we're doing. He's real supportive of me. But what we decided to do is design a campaign around the Novel Pledge. And so you can go to novelcitychamber.com and you can take the Novel Pledge, and it's a list of things that you can do to get plugged in, what you want to do, and say, you're basically saying, I want to be a leader in whatever area that I'm focused on. And then it's also opportunities for us to partner, looking at different things that we can do in whatever area, any ideas that you have, we can definitely discuss those opportunities. So that's a collective impact. We're trying to get Kansas City out of that show me mentality and say, hey, we all changing the mentality around, because I just got back from San Francisco and Silicon Valley. And it's just a different mindset up there. It's just like everybody's like moving and shaking. It's like, hey, what you got to offer? What can I do to help you move your business forward? And we're talking like real things, that impact on a global scale. I was talking to I actually networked, like you talk about networking. I was out there And I met an individual. I actually met him earlier in the year when I went out there for Reverend Jesse Jackson's Push Tech conference. And so I ended up just building a relationship with him. So then there's this huge event called Tech Star or TechCrunch Disrupt. And at this event, it's like investors from everywhere. SoftBank, I mean, big time investors and everything. So, and the price is kind of high. I mean, almost $3,000 to get in one of these events. And so I got connections that like board members at TechCrunch, and they were like, hey, send me an email. It's like, I got some tickets. You want to go? So I was like, cool. Got another one? I'm thinking like down the road, like who else can I get some access to?
Yeah.
You know, so she sent me another link. Got another ticket. So I reconnected with the guy I met earlier that year because he's out there, and he's a startup like, but he's super smart. He's like into like artificial intelligence. He's learning about inclusion and diversity, how to use artificial intelligence to solve a problem. So I was like, and he's real connected into like the co-working spaces and those types of things. So like, hey, you want to go? He was like, I've been praying for a ticket.
Hey, there you go. Wow.
So it was like, I gave him the ticket, and so we got out there and we got to connect, and he connected me with all of his people, a bunch of real estate people, you know. And then we ended up networking into this venture lounge, and they had some interns on the door. So we got there early, so the interns were still on the door, so we just walked right in.
Yeah.
So we in there, like SoftBank, like I said, we were talking to him. My friend, he was like trying to pitch his idea. He's like, yeah, how much are you looking at? He's like, about $1 million, 1.2 million. He was like, I can't talk to you. He was like, we have this 500 million.
Wow.
Like, so it's like, but I'm in this place, you know, like, okay, so, and then I just ended up connecting with somebody, and they just sat with me the whole time I was in there, and just like, whatever you need, I'm gonna be here for you.
Wow.
Like, no matter what kind of idea you have, just shoot it to me. Let's see what we can do. Those types of things. So when they talk about having a plan, you know, when you're networking, these things are important, super important. I mean, it helped me. I did an event at the White House because of networking, following the things that they shared. I mean, I'll tell you about that experience. I ended up going to the White House. I got asked to go to the White House in 2013, I want to say. So I went up to I went to that event, and I have another connection out there, Armstrong Williams, and he's very like he owns the largest media Black-owned media company in America. So he's we on first name basis and text and everything. So I talked to him about what we're doing moving out of the city. He was like, talking to the wrong people. He needs to be at the White House. You know, so he got me connected with the White House. But one thing he was like, he had some, it's important to get to meetings early. I got to the meeting early. When I got to the meeting, some New York investment bankers was in a meeting with him prior to my meeting. He's like, come in. So I got to pitch them. So then they gave me some advice. Like, hey, you need to go check on this organization in New York. Blah, blah. Long story short, ended up connecting with the organization. They led me to another woman named Nina Luomo, who started Student Dream. And she had a connection with the actual White House, and they were in the process of planning an event. So she lost her mother in Africa. So we had a relationship. She's like, I want you to be me while I'm in Africa. So
wow.
I'm talking to the White House, like we planning an event with the White House. So he's like sending me the list of attendees. I'm like, okay. So, like, I took that list And I like you said, have a plan. I went to LinkedIn, all of them. I had a PDF of their bios. So when I came to the meeting, I was and so a lot of that fits some of the opportunities that I have now. So like I said, at the end of the day, all things created by Christ for Christ. He wants to bless us. All we have to do is hear from him, obey what he's saying to us, take practical advice, the multitude of counsel of safety. Make sure, when you start your business, always have the right counsel in place. It doesn't matter what type of business it is. Like I said, it could be a church, but that's the way it's set up, even in the church. Like I talk about in the business world, media, research, education, law, finance, and technology. In the church, apostles, pastors, prophets, teachers. It's the same concept that I apply to the world. So I just wanted y'all to think about that, and hopefully God will bless you. And I'd love to hear back from some of the reports. So God bless you. Thank you. Oh yeah, I forgot about the video. Okay, so I'm going to show you this video, and it's just kind of like I always had vision, and make it short and sweet, like 3 minutes if you have video done for your business. Make it real short and sweet so people can grasp what you're doing, and it's just 3 or less, and it's just like what he said. All it is, it's not you trying to sell a widget. It's just, hey, look what I'm doing. Do you see anything? You're sowing seeds, really. You like, you see anything that I'm working on that we can connect with? We can over coffee and talk about. Boom, those types of things. That's what we can do. Go ahead.
On that, the website, you said it's NovelCityChambers.com?
Yes.
Well, the slide that had the innovation ventures or innovation showcase on there, was that information on the website?
Not yet, actually. This is, so we just got approved, because we're doing this in connection with Kaufman Foundation's Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is November 12th through the 16th. I'm on the steering committee for that too. So we're just in the process of, there were 250 events submitted. And so we're one of those events that's been going on during that week. So, yeah.
Hey, what was that? I know you said media, research, finance, law, technology, and
education. You ready?
Novel City is constantly at work, finding solutions to problems for entrepreneurs nationwide.
To take what people give you and make something out of it, a relationship, of being bold, having a novel idea that you believe in so much, you're willing to lose it all, to risk it all.
Novel City was invited to participate in a White House briefing where it was reported that the entrepreneurial ecosystem lacks diversity, quality, mentorship, and access to capital. Novel City Chamber of Innovation is addressing these issues through
media, research, education, law, and finance innovations that come up out of those. And what we want to do is identify an opportunity with the media that has the spotlight that is on Kansas City right now. We have an opportunity to be novel. We have an opportunity to actually become a city that's a global leader.
So we launched a fiber project. There was an RFI that went out, and we asked cities across the country if they'd be interested in Google building our very first fiber to the home network.
Novel City received 3 proclamations from the city of Kansas City, Missouri. Through Novel City documentaries, Novel City documents the process of developing an innovation hub. Novel Street Journal is an online publication that functions as the voice for exclusive innovation hubs. Novel News Network provides real-time data and the media coverage of the latest innovations.
By 2006, that's when we went ahead and founded Talking Exchange.
We aim to shift the conversation from real news versus fake news to novel news. Community asset mapping focuses on identifying media, research, education, law, finance, and technology community assets.
Here at Toronto, we're very happy to partner up with Novel City Chamber of Innovation to participate in the Entrepreneurship Week of Innovation out of Barcelona, Spain. Thanks, Jabal.
We are developing a list of top 50 novel cities around the world. The list will be published annually in our Novel Street Journal. Novel City Delegate Certificate Program trains participants on topics such as novel city culture, diversity, brand energy, thought leadership, team building, and international business. Novel City Ventures is our proprietary certification program to develop various innovative curriculum and training.
And NABLE is a funding platform for community and civic projects.
I'm Alice Hyden. I'm a principal at Seed Invest, which is a venture fund and equity crowdfunding platform.
This was an important event for us at the Coffee Foundation because we're all about inspiring people to become entrepreneurs.
Novel City implements signature events in which we bring together entrepreneurs from all over the nation to mingle, learn, and succeed from one another. Novel City helps thousands of entrepreneurs think differently, meet new people, and push themselves to become as novel as they can be.
Think novel, take risks. That's a great slogan.
Join the movement today.
That is simply awesome. Jabbar, give me a high five. Okay, let's give it up for Jabbar. That's a product of Apostle Wesley and Pastor Lisa.
Right.
And trust me, I understand he's involved in business, and that's no small project. And you said the mayor know you by name, but y'all have a good relationship. I just believe that would be he just calling him his right hand economic man. Yeah, because hats off to you, man. You're young. I'm an inspiring person, but you just inspired me. Man, my belly is, I'm telling you, it was just stirring up in me big time. Mike and I would, and Audrey and we was all talking right there and winking our eye at one another and speaking, and it's all good. That's great, man. Keep God first. Give the glory, man. And wow, we need to bring you to Huntsville, Alabama, bro. yeah, we're really doing some stuff we're trying to do. So that's really good. So give him another hand for that. Don't take that lightly whatsoever. You never know who you miss and the heart they have and the drive they have. So I think Mike is really introducing me up here, and then I'm coming to teach. Yeah. All right.
He's excited to get up and teach, but I want to say a few things that I can say that he can't say on his behalf. If you haven't had the chance to hear Dr. Watkins speak, you're in for a rare treat. Now, I want to say this. On that video, that was awesome. And I will say that Kansas City is uniquely positioned. I've been around the country and spoken, worked with lots of cities. Kansas City is uniquely positioned to do great things and have deep connections. There's a lot of amazing people here and a lot of powerful people. With that being said, that's what I'm going to talk about, Dr. Watkins. Doc Rock, as you know. I've had the good fortune to really dig deep in Kansas City, Atlanta, Denver, deep in Oklahoma, different places with some extremely powerful and well-connected people, some great speakers and leaders. Dr. Watkins is unique among all of them. I've never met anybody or listened to anybody speak that has the passion and the knowledge and the desire to give that he has. Okay, he's very well respected within our community. positioned very strongly in a position of leadership. We work to hold the leadership development back because right now Ability Plus is where our focus is, but God is pushing the leadership development greater than when he gets ready, when God gets ready to move, Doc Rock's gonna be a household name. But what I want you to understand is that he has a special anointing on his life that you will be truly blessed to get the word. Just be open to receive what you're going to get today, because it will speak to you in a way that you do not get, and most people pay a lot of money for. So you embrace what you got here, because you're going to get a treat today. So let me bring him up.
Thanks. I appreciate that. So we're gonna be talking about the power of confidence, and I'm gonna do the introduction, and then Dr. Audra is gonna come and talk about 3 confidence killers. And Dr. Audra, of course, is my wife, and Audra has the hardest job in our company. One of the hardest. She's over HR in administration. We have 600 so employees. We have benefits. We have a lot of stuff going on. I come in areas and tip my head, look in there, walk through. How y'all doing? I keep on going because it's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm so appreciative for her being part of. We started VIC together, Vision Excellence come together years ago, teaching on leadership, business development, and she's well qualified to come and teach with me. And I'll talk about what we're going to be talking about today. Appreciate her. She's stern and know things that I overlook. I got her looking at my blind side. Got Mike looking at my blind side. By the way, everybody has a blind side. You don't know everything. And you need somebody that can look at your blind side, look at your butts, your negatives, see things you don't see, and to bring those out. We are, as your sign say, we're helping leaders, helping them to maximize their core value. That's what we want you to do today. We want to help you maximize your core values, what you think is important, what you think is good, where you want to go. We want to lead, we want to innovate, we want to do those things because they are very important. Now, I want to talk about this power of confidence. And I will reference, you have a handout here that we'll reference to. I won't stay behind this podium because it's not my style. I'll start out here and I'll end up somewhere else. But let me say this. This teaching that we're about to teach today, this session, is I think one of the most powerful teachings that we teach and they can be taught. I'm gonna tell you why. We can teach you 100 methods of being successful as a person in your company, your ministry, or whatever you're associated with. We teach all those principles. But if you don't believe you can do it, you won't do it. Confidence, many are not born with, but we definitely can learn it. And the reason I say that is research says that. Number one, research says that. Okay, over the last 30 years, people have researched this great institutions like Harvard, Stanford, okay, Yale, and George Washington have research on this. But most so for me is because I was a person when I was young. I didn't have a lot of confidence. I was smart, made straight A's and all those type things, but I did believe, Mr. Tony, that I could do it, right? I did believe that I could be the one. And you got to believe, we're getting ready to flat out inspire you, educate you, and motivate you that nothing gonna be impossible for you to do. Mm-hmm. I didn't say we're getting ready to try to do it. I said we're finna get ready to flat out do it for you.
All right.
See? Yeah. Because we believe we can. We believe that we have that type of knowledge, power to do it for you. All right? Most people, to many people, will never, ever reach the destiny that's on their life. Mm-hmm. It's sad to say that, Pastor Wesley, but it's true. And it's not because they can't. It's because they don't have the confidence to do it. If you ask me to get up and speak before people, when I was in my teenage or beginning my professional life in my 20s, I would say you're crazy. You know, of course, preaching helped me a whole lot with that. But then when we switched to the business world, you know, your knees shaking, you're knocking, you're oh my goodness, am I gonna mess up or whatever? It's tough. Mike reminds me sometimes because I take advantage of talking. He said, boss, people just can't get him to talk. I'm like, why? Because guess what? It's tough. And especially you men who preach the word of God. Do it all the time, so it's easy. Or easier. Okay? But most can't do it. They can't present their case, can't present themselves, cannot take command of the room, cannot take command of the project that they're on. The other person can do it better. I'm gonna ask you a question here. Why not you? You ever looked at a company or a ministry or something that's great and say, wow, I would like to do that, or wow, how did they do that? You know, you got the wow factor. And you have to take steps back and say, why can't that be me?
Yeah.
I tell our company, I said 3 years ago, we was headed down in the dumps, losing $115,000 a month, should have been out of business by the summer, because we've been $500,000 in the hole, and when we took it over, with people coming at us, and RSK was called in, and Medicaid was called in, and just nurse delegation. I mean, just all these companies that can shut you down. OSHA was called in. I mean, and in the midst of all that, I said, we will be the best provider in the state of Alabama. Yeah. Now we're gonna have confidence because in January we pick up 3 new business units as a for-profit company. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna be the best in the world. Matter of fact, you'll listen to one of the greatest motivational and empowerment speakers in the world. That's who I am.
Yeah.
Literally who I am. See?
Yeah.
But what about you? That's us. That's what we do. But I ain't gonna talk about us. What about you? Who are you? What is confidence? Confidence is believing that you can do something very well. That's what confidence is. You can do it very well. Not your friend, not your neighbor, even though you're going to trust and believe in him, but you can do it well. Right? Now, the problem is that we have the solution to this, but we miss it. This reference a good book, Hebrews. You know, I'm in the church here, so I can say it now. I'm with Toyota, I say the good book.
Right.
Right? I would talk to people from Mutual Omaha or Transamerica or something. You know, I say the good book.
Right.
But hey, like when I'm with the Full Gospel Business meeting in Tobago, I can say Hebrews 10.
Yeah.
Say, do not throw away your confidence, for it has what great recompense. Now, let's back this up right quick. Good just introduction, and let's say church, because in church we hear that and we miss it. What does it mean personally to your life, to your business? That means if you believe in it, recompense is a financial. It is a word of increase, of reward. So you're going to get something out of this. And your confidence will bring you money. Will bring you opportunity.
Yeah.
Will bring you success. Listen, it's in your head way before it's in your pocket.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right.
People looking for it in the pocket. No, when you got confidence that you're going to do something well, that is there way before it's in your pocket. Now I'll be honest with you, we kept feeling it in our pockets a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was in my head before it was in my pocket. Right? So you got to be confident in this embryo.
Right.
This embryo of destiny, of dreams God's given you. Now you say, where did you get that from? Well, I got it from the Bible. Well, I ain't never heard of the word embryo in the Bible. You ain't look at it good enough. Come on. You see, how do you look at things? I look at Matthew 6:33. Some say, seek ye first the kingdom of God and righteousness, all these things shall be added to you. But business-wise, with every spiritual encounter, there is an economic development. That's how I read that. With every spiritual encounter, there is an economic development. You cannot get this and stay poor. Poor in mind, poor in spirit, poor in business.
Yeah.
So when I see Philippians 1:7, it says, be confident. He that begin a good thing in you. Be confident in this. Faithful to what? Complete it. So the embryo of success, so this embryo of confidence in you will bring you to a place of success if you believe. But you must believe it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Clarence Randall says something like, they must, you must know that you know, right? Okay? And you must know that you must know, and you must know that you know.
Yeah.
And those that are around you
Know that you know.
must what?
Know
that you know, basically.
Right.
You gotta be very confident in that. So you gotta know that you know. And you gotta know that you know. You gotta know that you know that you know.
Right. That's good.
You gotta know that you know. You gotta know that you know. You gotta know that you know.
Right.
And then others around you, they gotta be very confident that you know.
Right.
That's what confidence does in leadership. Because when you know what you know and you are confident in it, people who have doubt will lose it and put it on the back shelf and walk with you because you know. Come on.
Okay.
Because you believe it.
Right.
See, because if you're in business, if you're in ministry, if you're in something in life, are you willing to die for it? Because if you're not willing to die for it, you're not truly confident that it'll work.
Right.
Because life is important to people.
Right.
But if you tell me you will put your life on the line for this cause,
Come on.
I can rest assured that you sure believe it.
Yeah.
That we can do it. And most people don't have that type of confidence, so they lose. Colonel Sanders never saw a young Colonel Sanders. He's always an old Caucasian man in a white suit in pictures.
Right. Right.
Who was in Kentucky trying to sell his fried chicken to people.
Yeah.
And rejected over almost 1,000 times. For an hour, somebody tasted that old chicken. Right? And now it's all over the world. I go to Nigeria, it's Kentucky Fried Chicken. Jamaica, Kentucky Fried Chicken everywhere. But it came from Kentucky with somebody who was confident that their chicken was the best, even though everybody told them that my mama chicken was better. But I don't see your mama chicken being sold.
Hey.
Even though you think your mama chicken is better.
That's good.
And it may be.
Right.
But he was confident enough to keep going when rejection came.
Right.
See, confidence push you past rejection. I declare that most people do not in business and in the world do not have the proper confidence they need. Amen. So now, when we go into a room, and I'm going to switch to Dr. Hodge in a second. When we go into a room to network, we don't care if the Smurfs are there.
Yeah.
And all of them are blue. We come to do business.
Right.
We're not coming in to blend in. We're coming to stand out.
Come on now.
We walk into a place, we're not trying to blend, we're not trying to blend in. We're not trying to be like everybody. We are confident that we are the people you are looking for.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't know it, but you will know it. Not arrogance. Right. Confidence. We're talking about what confidence is based in. Not based in you knowing everything, based on other people getting into your circle and help you build the magnificent destiny that's on your life.
Right.
And when you lack this, then it kills your dreams. So most people's dreams will always sit on the shelf because they have not developed a proper confidence. Here's the deal. Sorry to tell you this. You're going to have some bad days.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have some struggles.
Yeah.
Life has a way of throwing you a curveball that you never expected.
Yeah.
You did not see it coming. But when you got the proper confidence,
Yeah.
you're able to take the lemon that was thrown at you and make what?
Lemonade.
No! That's for people who are doing good. I want to talk about what people who are going greatly. You take the lemon and make lemon meringue pie. That's better. Right? That's better.
Yeah. Right.
That's the thing in Dr. Street. I'm going to talk about confidence killers because it's very important. I think it'll help you. Then we'll come back and do other things to talk about as well. When you're confident, so half empty, half full. What's this bottle? Half empty, half full.
Half full. Yes, full.
Both. No.
Yeah.
No. No. Now, I would say personally, it's not half empty. It's not half full. Yep, I can tell. You don't look with your eyes.
Yeah.
You look through your eyes.
Right. Yeah.
You look with your mind.
Right.
Because how far you live from him? Understand? 10 to 15 minutes because of your couch in your meeting.
Come on.
It's chocolate gray. You're
Come
15
on.
minutes away, you see a chocolate gray couch in your living room.
Wow. Come on.
In the church. How you see that?
Come on.
Wow. Yeah, the light bulb just shut. Wow. Get a wow moment. Yeah, wow. Because you don't see with your eyes. That's the problem.
Wow.
If you see with your eyes, you'll never be confident enough to do what you call it do because it's too great for what's in front of you. So you'll give up in the midst of the pain.
Come on now. Okay. All right.
You see with your mind. So there's a time in my life I saw this as half empty. I'm on the negative end. Confidence bad. Then I started seeing the half full. Woo! I'm there. I got it. I'm confident. I'm ready to do it. But then when greater things are required of you, it's not enough.
Right.
So I started seeing it half full. Great. Yeah. Now I'm in another phase. It's not half empty. Absolutely not. Ever. It's not half full. Okay? Somebody say okay? It's full.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
That happened a year ago.
Yeah.
It's full. Because here's the deal. I got two substances. I got water and I got air. It's full.
Right.
How you see it? I'm confident in it.
That's good.
I was there. That's good. Now we get ready to go. We're looking at the B word for its company. So it's just not full. Don't see it anymore. A year ago, 4 or 5 minutes ago, something like that. I started seeing it another way. It's not half empty. It's not half full. It's not even full anymore. I got confidence to tell you it is freaking running over. This bottle is running over. It got part of water and the rest air is flowing all around this thing. This thing is dripping all over my head. It's going down my arm, down to my legs. What about your plight in life, in your company, in your entrepreneurship, your ministry, the little thing that you think is little now?
Come on.
Confidence is going to water it to grow, to be something awesome that you never thought about. But there are 3 things that will kill your confidence that you need to know about to get around so you can be great. So not all of your mind coming talking about these 3 confidence killers that people need to get. Okay. You know, hold this. Back.
All right, Doc Rock.
You want this?
You will come back and use the sliders. Hold this. How are you all today?
Excellent. Excellent.
Awesome. Listen, we can do anything we set our mind to
Absolutely.
do.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you today that there's gonna be obstacles, there's gonna be challenges, there are gonna be a whole lot of things that are set in front of you. But we have to have the confidence to know that if we set out to do it, it can happen.
Absolutely.
Listen, we can give every kind of excuse it is, but there's 3 confidence killers that can mess you up. One of the things is, and I'm here good, this is the best person in the world, Doc, to talk about a low self-esteem. And what I hear all the time is, hey, y'all got it going on. And I was one of the lowest self-esteem person that you could ever meet. Listen, on here, we said, I don't think I can rises from a deep, I don't think I am. And when you don't think that you can do it, Gloria, you can't do it. If you don't think that you can, if you don't think much of yourself and you don't have confidence, guess what? It's not going to happen. So me, at Ability Plus, one of the companies that I work for, besides being in partnership at VEC, I go in every day to face 600, sometimes happy employees, sometimes mad, sometimes with complaints. And what's going to happen if I come in with a low self-esteem? I give that to my team. I give that to the employees. So I have to come in knowing who I am, having the confidence to know that a low self-esteem is not the definition of me.
Amen.
One thing I learned from my mentor, Doc Rock, is Doc Rock always said this: I am today what I thought on yesterday. I will be on tomorrow what I'm thinking right now at this moment. So guess what? If you think that, Krishan, if you think that you're nobody today, on tomorrow, the results is poverty. Right. The results is a business that is not going anywhere. The results is employees that are complaining every moment. But if I come in with confidence, lacking in the thing of saying, I'm going to have a high self-esteem. Why am I going to do this? Because listen, I take the Bible, and I'm in the church, so I love to be in the church, where I can go ahead and say, I read the Bible. Right. And the word tells me that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. So when I come in, Dr. Rock, I'm not coming in thinking that I can't do it. I come in with confidence. There are so many times that I've walked into work and I have to face something that I've never faced before. I have a project that I have never done before, Chris. I've never done this. I've never faced this. How am I supposed to do this? What is it in me that makes me think that I can even do this? Is the confidence of Christ in me? So sometimes, me as a leader, I'm coming in with disgruntled people. They're mad. They had 5 EEOCs. Who wants to hear that when you come to work? Oh, he tried to touch me. Oh, he said something. Oh, she touched me inappropriate. She said something to me that I didn't want to hear.
Right.
Are you kidding? So the employees are upside down. So what I started to do is say that when I come in with confidence. We can handle this today. Yeah. I remember coming in just going, oh my God, not today. But then when I changed my mindset to say I'm not going to have a low self-esteem. Still, low self-esteem is targeted from things that you faced in the past. So I started to look at myself personally. Look at yourself sometimes. Look at the things that you faced in the past. Dr. Watkins talked about having his father. I thought about a young girl and a young boy, my brother, being raised without a father. Not only being raised without a father, but knowing that I had a father that was near genius, very intelligent, very smart, but he rejected me and my brother. The firstborn being myself, then my brother. And I heard all of these things about how he went to college and graduated, but yet he didn't want me. And I had a wonderful mom that was taking care of me and wonderful grandparents that supported me. But here I am, a rejected child. So all during my life, do you not think that I looked back and said, you know what, that caused me to have a little low self-esteem. So where I didn't have a daddy that said, you're a pretty young lady, you can do anything. I didn't have that. So guess what? All of a sudden, I didn't have those things. So what's gonna cause me to go beyond my natural ability and see that I don't have to have a low self-esteem and to kill that thing that's trying to kill my confidence? Okay? So what I did was I stepped out of myself. The less confidence you have in yourself, the faster you are to give up and trying to get what you want. There's an underlying thing here with low self-esteem, and it's called depression and anxiety. And when you have depression and anxiety, you let the things that are important pass you by, and you don't accomplish the things that you need to accomplish to have a successful business, to be successful in what you're assigned to do. You will sit back and cross your legs and crawl up in a ball and just survive. But we are not here to survive. We're here to kill confidence killers.
Yeah, right. That's right.
So what I did was, it's mind over matter. I began to do those things. The Bible says, casting down imagination and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God and bringing it into captivity. If you would go into leadership today, Ernestine, it says that we need to just replace those bad thoughts with positive thoughts, positive energy. It's the same thing. They take the word of God and they make it applicable to our today life. We sit in church and shout about it, but we never bring it into our professional lives. In my professional life, I come in, and when those obstacles come, I take it, I'm bringing it into obedience, and I'm walking in it with confidence. The next thing that is a confidence killer is fear. Fear is false evidence. You'd have heard this before, appearing real. Listen, fear not. Do not go in fearing anything. I was so happy to hear the young lady talk about being in a male-dominated industry. But guess what? Typically, when you're in the corporate world, you're sometimes in a male-dominated arena. So you're looking at people that put on pantsuits. I wear pantsuits too, but they put on pantsuits and have a deep voice.
Right.
So do you go in being intimidated by a male presence, or do you step in knowing that you're by coming in on assignment? And I lift my head up just like the males. I step up just like the males. I may carry a briefcase. I carry a backpack, but I can carry a briefcase too. I just haven't found one that I like. But the same difference is I'm coming for the same purpose. So don't be intimidated or fearing because of your gender. Okay? Amen. The reason of lack of self-confidence can also be summed up in one word, and we talked about the fear of embarrassment, fear of rejection, fear of criticism. Okay? Fear of failure, or one of the other kinds. The key to building self-confidence is to face the underlying fear and to practice doing that until you have successfully conquered the fear. So how do you do this? Do you ever sit back and just imagine walking into whatever arena that you have to walk into? And walking into it with confidence, and you see yourself walking tall in that business meeting. You see yourself speaking clearly. You see yourself motivating, or whatever you have to do. You see it on the canvas of your imagination. Have you ever looked at that and said, I can do it? Well, that's how you do it. You start to imagine yourself on the other side of that fear and start to see yourself doing something that is beyond your own ability. You continue to do this on a daily basis. You meditate every day on how you can and stop meditating on how you can't do it. The greatest deliverance I ever heard was, and I love this, is a deliverance from people. You fearing someone that had to go through the same steps that you're going through. Why are you intimidated by that? If I am selling a product and I know that, what did you sell? Widgets. I don't know about it. I listen to it and don't even. I don't know what it is, but I don't want it. But if I were selling widgets, when I came in, I don't know what is it, Mike? But anyway, when I come in, that widget is gonna be so awesome. I'm gonna have the confidence that I have the greatest product here and you need this. And when I tell you about this, boy, now listen, I know that you're thinking about just getting one, but I will ship a whole box of them to you because this is something that you need in your life.
Amen.
I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna make you feel like you want it.
Right. Yeah.
You have to have that kind of confidence.
Yeah.
A salesman can't come in with their head down. Neither can business owners, business leaders, entrepreneurs. How can you be an entrepreneur if you're in the shell? Come out.
Yeah.
Be confident in that.
Yes.
If I'm selling something or I'm presenting something, you can't present that if you're fearful of what you're presenting.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're timid and you walk into the room, when I come into a room, don't come in timid.
Amen.
There are times when, yes, I'm just coming in, I am the second. Dr. Watkins needs the floor, and I'm going to be there. But if Dr. Watkins is not there, and I'm needing to be the representative for VEC, or whatever department I'm in, I'm coming in and I take the room.
Right.
How are you today? So great to meet you. I don't care what, I'm going to take the room. I'm taking it with confidence. Fear makes you have an inferior position with people, and they can smell it. They smell it on you.
Yeah.
Okay? One of the things that if you want to do something, and I love all these John Maxwell and Zig Ziglar, I used to love to go hear Les Brown and all of these guys, but I started to think about it is possible with confidence to do anything that you set your mind to.
Yeah.
And one of the books, and I know, don't laugh because this is a wonderful book, but I started to think about, I started to get motivation at a very early age, and I think about 2 or 3, this book was read to me, and it's called by Waddy Piper. In 1930, he wrote, The Little Engine That Could. And that little engine was a small little engine, and he said, I don't know if I can do this, but the difference is he had the confidence to go out and try. And the difference is having the confidence to say, I think I can, I think I can. And then all of a sudden, did you notice that in that book, the think you can, as they went up into impossible realm, it became possible, and it became, I know I can, I know I can, I know I can. So your mindset has got to move from I don't think I can to I think I can do it. And then all of a sudden, as you begin to build your confidence, it needs to go to I know I can. And you kill the fear that's trying to overtake your life.
Thank you. Amen.
Practice reacting aggressively and positively toward fears in your imagination. Do this every time you feel fear creep up. Fear does not just creep up when you're in the arena of a lot of people. Fear can creep up in the very existence of you being alone at home and thinking about what you have to accomplish on the next day. Take risks and set out to do what your heart desires.
Amen.
There's a song, Lee Ann Womack. When you get a chance to sit it out or dance, are you going to sit it out because you're afraid that you're going to take the wrong steps? Are you going to get out there and do that walk that you never did and dance?
Come on. Come on. Right. Amen.
Dance. When the opportunity comes, don't sit on the sideline. Don't be afraid, but get out there and dance right in the midst of it.
Yeah.
Act as if it is impossible for you to fail.
Amen. Amen.
Act as if it is. Does it mean that may not that you're gonna always succeed? No, it does not. I remember Hershey candy, and I'm telling you, I'll eat a Hershey's right now.
Me too. Come on.
But the man went bankrupt so many times that I would have quit a long time ago. But he felt it was impossible for you to resist that chocolate. It's impossible for you to resist this milk chocolate. And guess what? He was right. It is impossible for us to resist that milk chocolate. Act as if it's impossible for you to fail. Relax your fear away. Studies show that when your muscles are all tense, when you're tense, it's a fire. Have you ever looked at people on TV and you looking and there's a fire and you see the flames behind them and they all tense and you're gonna burn up They can't move, they tense. But when you relax, get your mind settled. Relax those muscles.
Yeah.
You walk in the room and you take authority.
Amen.
Like there's nothing that we can't do.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm relaxed, so I can step into this arena. When you're relaxing, you hear people say, get yourself together. The fire's behind you. Relax. Jump. Jump into the arena. They'll jump in because they're relaxed.
Yeah.
When you're tense, when you let the cares of your everyday, but if I went to work and I allow everything that comes my way get to me, I would fear everything.
Yeah.
I would fear lawsuits every day. I would fear making a positive step because there's going to be something every day. But you can't let your circumstance. So what I do a lot of times is when it gets chaotic, and I just live in a chaotic world, to have a job that everybody in the company actually hates seeing you coming. Why do they hate seeing you coming? I am the person that fired you. So I have the entry position to everybody loves you. What's my salary? Thank you so much for the opportunity. The next time they see me, you know. But it's not always that. Baby, I'm coming to give you a promotion. If you're doing your job right. But it's a every day is something. Every day is something to face. Even being in ministry. Sometimes they see Dr. Audra coming and they don't want to see me. So I'm used to it. So I can't get tensed up and say, nobody like me.
Right.
No.
Right.
Release that.
Absolutely.
Be you. Be confident in who you are. You know what? Those are killers. Having a low self-esteem stops you from walking into the arena, stops you from feeling like you can. I don't put anything in my life, and you shouldn't put anything in your life that gives you an I can't attitude.
Right. Yeah.
Don't ever let anything be in your life. There's an impossibility. You can do it.
Yeah.
So it's just like the football team. Put your hand in and know when you come out, you lift up and you lift up with victory. I am one female and I am one confident female.
Amen.
When I come in, I believe that it's going to be something good for me. When I come in, I believe if Mike Grace got the position, I'm going to get it too.
Amen.
They said we have one position. They hired him already before I got in, but get ready. You got to hire somebody else.
Amen. Amen.
Because you need me. Know your worth.
Yeah.
And don't let fear and inferiority come your way. Substitute the feeling of fear with another positive feeling. They call it positive energy. You can call it positive thoughts. Somebody in here just I substituted with the word of God. But don't make what you get every Sunday or Wednesday or whatever day that you fellowship and whatever day that you meditate on the word. Don't make things religious. Use it. The world uses the Bible every day and never says the Bible.
Right.
Why would you not do the same if you are a believer? If you not, they still take it and just substitute it and say energy.
Right.
Okay? Positive energy. Other people's opinion of you does not mean a thing.
Right.
If it's going to stop you from being the best you that you can be. All it is a confidence killer. I live in a small area. I came from a small area in Alabama called Decatur. And it is a poisonous little place. And I call myself in that place. I was called Little Audra. All right, Little Audra. Girl, they slurred that girl. I decided a long time ago that I wasn't gonna be Little Audra. Because Little Audra would just be still sitting back talking, girl, did you know such and such died on yesterday? No way. I didn't go to college to come back to talk about who died on yesterday or who gonna die on tomorrow. I am a successful woman. Yes. I am a success because that's who I was created to be. Right. I am a new creation that's set in this world to accomplish something great that God had already predestined before the beginning of time. Right. So I'm not gonna be girl, but I am a success in the Lord. I am a successful businesswoman.
Yes.
I am an entrepreneur. I am everything that I set my mind out to be. So don't let the confidence killers kill you.
Amen.
But set your mind to be the best.
Yeah.
Maurice, are you the best at everything that you accomplish? Are you, Gary, when you go out, do you already know that the best is coming your way? You may not be the best. You may not even know everything, but set your confidence on this. That he at the beginning working you is faithful and just to complete it until the day of Jesus.
Amen. Right.
Those three things. Give your confidence.
Yeah.
Now, we also have a lot of energy. That was real good. You caught up on the energy.
All right.
Bring you down for a reason.
Oh.
You gotta deal with your self-esteem. Right?
Yeah.
You gotta deal with the fear. Cannot pay attention to other people's opinion.
Right. Right.
If you overcome those things, nothing can stop you.
Right. Yeah.
You see? You gotta be fired up about it. You gotta have passion about it. Okay? But at the end of the day, you gotta get it. You gotta make sure that it sticks. Okay? Because the sad thing is that most people do care what people think.
That's right.
They do care. And it stops them from fulfilling their dreams and being who they call to be.
Right.
Because if I'm trying to, Christian, if I'm listening for the person to tell me I can do it, and I've called them a credible authority figure, and value that will stop me from going where I need to go.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So these three things that Dr. Hodges talked about, hey, please get these. Please get them to sink, let them sink deep down in your mind. Because once you get there, then we can stop you. I'm gonna say something that's gonna be sounding real cruel. And Dr. Hodges heard me say this many times and Brother Mike too. I can care less what people think about me.
Right.
I have learned, you got that right. I've learned, Apostle, I don't care. How many of you care about what, especially people you call a credible authority figures when they thought about you in the past? I mean, talk about it. It hindered you, whether you knew it or not. Because you're looking for their approval.
Yeah.
When they're not the authority figure to give you.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So now, because they say you can't do it, you didn't do it. Now I'm going to go a step further. Sometimes that opinion of others may not be a person, maybe your environment. Because now your environment say what you can't do. Audrey didn't tell you, she grew up and her mom was a single mom. Abusive relationship, I sure. Jumping out the window. If you pay attention to that environment, you just give up. I tell people all the time, I went to a 15-year-old in the projects in Cape Town. 15-year-old. Didn't see anything, any success around me. But I can't go on that. I can't hear them say, don't you do that, or you may lose it all. Can I help you? If you're not confident in what you are called to do, why should I invest a dime in you?
Right. Wow. Right.
You have to be willing to give it all up to have it all. The reason why people are successful in business, they don't have confidence that their business will be successful.
Yeah.
I said it again. The reason why most people are not successful in business because they don't have the confidence that their business will be successful. So they hold it back. So $20. Take this $40 right here. So I guess it's not enough for me to have confidence in this $40. And what can it bring me? If I look at it this way, I'm looking at life from a very limited point of view. I have $40. I know I can get some gas. I know that I can get a pack of cigarettes. I know that I can pay, give me something to eat. Right? Right, Bishop. Right. Most people's confidence is limited to him.
Wow.
It's limited to what they can see, they can get out of it right now. Wow. That is bad. That is not the confidence that will bring success. What I must be willing to do is to risk giving this away into something bigger, knowing I may not get anything back, maybe. But if I keep sowing and trusting and believing with confidence, I will get a ROI, a return on my investment. And most people, confidence is in money and not what money can do. Stop. I'll say that very fast. Most people, confidence is in money. No good. Your confidence is in what money can do. Because if it's in money, you'll be afraid to lose the money.
Come on, man.
Or give it away or invest it.
Right.
But if it's in what money can do, you are willing to do the it can do.
Right.
Which means give it away. Right?
Yes.
So, on your paper, this is here. Get a blank part of your paper. I need you to put a like tic-tac-toe, a cross. Let's put like a line, a horizontal line in a straight line. Like a T. Like a cross,
like a plus sign.
Alright, so we'll do this. Like this. Y'all with me?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right, so I need you to put an E, B, S, and I like this. Y'all with me? E, B, S, I. E, B across the top, S, I across the bottom. All right? All right.